Friday, coast to coast, the CFL is Canada's game. And we're all contact to party. We're ready for a fun.
Goes to the corner, and it is a touchdown. The end zone, Hervey, touchdown.
It's Friday night football tonight. It's Friday. It's Friday night football tonight. It's Friday.
Well, it was a tough day at the office for Ricky Ray on Labor Day as he was hit hard and hit often by the Calgary Stampeders. And now, as a result, Danny Machocha and the Edmonton Eskimos, their season's kind of hanging in the balance for the rematch tonight at Commonwealth Stadium. Hi, everybody, and welcome to TSN's Friday Night Football. Dave Randolph, Chris Schultz, Matt Dunnigan, and Jock Climby. And now that we've set the over-dramatic intro to the game about the Eskimos being in trouble, let me tell you that when people talk about the Eskimos, from this point forward, you're going to hear them say 1971. That was the last time the Eskimos missed the CFL playoffs. A run of 34 years, the longest playoff run in North American pro sports. And Jock, with a 3-7 record, that run is in big-time jeopardy right now.
Yeah, and that run is going to be over if they can't figure out a way to protect Ricky Ray. It's by far the single most biggest problem with this football team. When you have a quarterback of that caliber, you've got to find ways to protect them. But when you lose 3 offensive linemen in the offseason, that becomes tough. And you know, for one of the first times I've heard of in a long time, a quarterback comes out and acknowledges the effect it's having on him. He's just saying he can't get back and read defenses. When you're worried about getting smacked in the mouth, you can't have the confidence to actually go through your progressions. If you got 1, 2, 3 reads and you know you might not even get to 1, what's the point of reading? You just go out there and start chucking, and that's the problem he's got right now, Chris.
And, Jock, that record will also be over if these Edmonton Eskimos don't find that balance between playing very aggressive on defense but also staying disciplined, because time and time again they attack the wrong shoulder of Henry Burris, too far upside, allowing him seams on the inside, or too far inside, allowing him to go to the outside. Senor Mobley has him there one-on-one. What does it turn into? A touchdown for Henry Burris. 88 rushing yards by Henry Burris, but they were critical yards. They sustained drives, Matthew.
Chelsea, another thing they got to be concerned with defensively, the Edmonton Eskimos, Joffrey Reynolds. 3 games, 322 yards and 44 touches. That's 107 yards and 14 touches per contest. But it's a double-edged sword, because if you try to come up and play Reynolds, the wide receivers are gonna burn you, and they're gonna cut you because you got to go one-on-one. And that's the dilemma the Eskimos defense is looking at again tonight, because you got Joffrey Reynolds. Chris, like you said, you got Henry Burris, 88 yards last week, and
right.
Wes Cates. He's nothing to shake his head at either.
No, do you think this run is going to end this year? What do you think?
8 games ago, I think they're going to finish out.
Okay.
Win them all.
Well, let's see. You know, this has something to do with the old Boston Pizza CFL poll question we're going to ask you tonight. Here it is. Log on to tsn.ca and tell us, what will be Edmonton's postseason fate? Are they going to make the playoffs in the West? Are they going to make the playoffs and cross over into the East? Or are they not going to make the playoffs for the first time? 71. Time now to introduce you to the starting quarterbacks, brought to you as always by Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL. Ricky Ray sacked 5 times on Monday. Henry Burris ran for almost 90 yards, passed for 300, and he's ready to go tonight under the Friday Night Lights.
Thank you, David. It's situation urgent for the Eskimos as they entertain the red-hot provincial rivals, the Calgary Stampeders, in the Labor Day rematch. Well, it's been a season of inclement weather here at Commonwealth, but not tonight. A gorgeous night, 26 degrees. The temperature, it is on the windy side, and that could play a factor in this game. Tom Higgins' Stampeders rolled to a 44-23 win Monday, but he says his Stamps can play much better than that as they go after their first 5-game win streak in a decade. And Danny Machocha has appealed to his team's pride to snap a streak of 5 losses in the last 6.
In the rematch, the biggest crowd of the year for the Edmonton Eskimos. They're expecting over 40,000 here in Commonwealth Stadium. It's always the biggest crowd of the year in the rematch of Labor Day.
18th renewal of the back-to-back Labor Day games. And for only the 3rd time, the Calgary Stampeders in a position to sweep. 10 times they've split the 2 meetings, and 5 times the Eskimos have swept Let's see how it unfolds tonight as DeAngelis kicks it off, and Tony Tompkins on the return. Tompkins colored at the 30-yard line, an 18-yard return. Ricky Ray was under siege on Monday in Calgary.
Was he ever? Ricky Ray was hit 20 times out of just over 40 snaps for the Edmonton Eskimos, sacked 5 times. He'll have to involve Troy Davis out of the backfield. There's the receiving corps. Jason Tucker has become quite quiet in the last few games, and some changes in the offensive line. Roundtree in there for his second start. Wally Roundtree.
Troy Davis, the ball carrier in the first play, and Davis up to the 33-yard line. Has 3, as we said, this stingy Calgary defense.
Boy, they are pretty dangerous up front. That front 7 gets after it. Cornelius Anthony and Khalid Abdullah are in the linebacking core. There's the front 3, Demetrius Maxey and Raheem Abdullah, the brother of Khalid, in that linebacking core. And, of course, Cornelius Anthony in for John Grace, last year's outstanding defensive player. A healthy scratch tonight.
Starting lineups brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast. Stampeders blitzing. Ricky Ray hit, but gets it away. Trevor Gaylor's got it at the Calgary 45-yard line, working against Tony Tiller.
Well, Ricky Ray obviously has just decided that he's going to get hit by these Calgary Stampeder defenders, so he might as well just stand in there, take the hit, and try and deliver the throw. He takes another one, but look at the pass as he drops it over the outside shoulder of Trevor Gaylor. This is another hit on Ricky Ray in the last 2 games. It just keeps piling on, and these take their toll as the game goes on, but a big completion for Edmonton early.
Demetrius Maxey turns up the heat, but it's a 31-yard gain for Gaylor, who had 4 for 108 and a touchdown on Monday. Troy Davis straight ahead, and he busts a tackle and doesn't want to go down. Finally wrestled to the turf by Khalid Abdullah.
Number 32, Troy Davis, with a lot of extra work.
Troy Davis can really help Ricky Ray and take some pressure off him. Let's go back to Labor Day and show you what Ricky Ray was up against the Calgary Stampeder defense that kept coming after him. Hit after hit, whether he threw the ball, whether he took some sacks, whether he got away, he was taking hits all over the place. That's the biggest from Raheem Abdullah, who just ran right through his ear hole.
The 100th rush of the year for Davis. Nets 11, a first down, so back to Troy Davis. Sheldon Napastic loses his lid as he's in on the tackle.
You know, Ricky Ray, Danny Machocha talked about it yesterday. Out of all the hits that he's taken and how this offense has struggled, Ricky Ray is still on pace to throw for over 5,000 yards. In fact, he is on pace to throw for the 3rd best total in Edmonton Eskimo history, which is quite remarkable when you consider the amount of punishment Ricky Ray has taken this year.
Leads the league with 3,034 yards coming in. Looks at 2nd down and 6, and Ray has time to look deep into the end zone. Hervey can't pull it in. Hervey had a step on Kobe Reinhart.
And you can't throw it any better. You cannot throw football any better. The idea for Ricky Ray here is to put it out in front of Ed Hervey so that he can go ahead and run under it. There he is right at the top of your screen. Ed Hervey one-on-one on Kobe Reinhart, and he just nothing fancy. Just run right by him. They have him in behind coverage. He drops it over that outside shoulder, and Ed Hervey, who kind of drifted to the inside, loses that over his outside shoulder.
Hervey with just 1 catch and a notable drop last week. That hurt, and so Fleming has to come on. And Sean Fleming is good. Just the 2nd field goal in the first quarter scored by Edmonton in 3 against Calgary. And they have elected to scrimmage at their 35 after the field goal by Sean Fleming. And this team has rolled up over 500 yards of offense in their last 2 starts. Burst to go to the air, over the middle and wide open. Jermaine Copeland with a catch at the 50 and 15. And a late flag.
Singor Mobley, Chris, came in there with a little extra push after the fact. The Edmonton Eskimos want to establish something early in this game, especially that linebacking core. A lot of time.
Objectionable conduct. Calgary number 80. It's a dead ball foul after the first down was made. It'll be 1st and 10.
Jermaine Copeland's going to get called. There's a push right there, and he threw the ball at Singor Mobley. That's why he's called. Mobley gave him a push as he was getting up. And there's a little push for Mobley, and they always get the retaliation.
So 15 for Copeland, and they march it back 10. Calgary with the first down at the 40. Joffrey Reynolds goes to work, 96 yards on 18 carries, stopped quickly in his tracks by A.J. Gass.
Henry Burris threw for 310 yards last week versus the Edmonton Eskimos on Labor Day. You'll have Joffrey Reynolds. Reynolds had 96 yards rushing in the Labor Day Classic. 5 receivers for the Calgary Stampeders. That's how they start. They call their big four: Thurman, Lewis, Rambo, and Copeland. An offensive line, Tyler Lynham playing out there at tackle for Jeff Pilon, injured.
And an offense that may lead the league in formations. So we'll see a lot of different looks tonight. 2nd and 8. And that ball caught underneath, but Gerald Dixon all over the receiver, and they may not even rule a catch. It will be Kenyon Rambo with the grab, but well short of the first down.
Yeah, either way, they're going to have to kick the football away. Henry Burris isn't real accustomed to this rematch in Commonwealth Stadium. He's been involved as a Stampeder in one of these games, but didn't finish it. He only attempted 9 passes last year and was injured. That's when he hurt his thumb on the non-throwing hand. And Jason Gessler came in and won that game for the Stampeders a year ago.
Tony Tompkins has dropped deep to play the Birkdale's punt. Tompkins with just 33 punt return yards in the last 5 games. And trying to make something there with a couple of side steps for 8 after a 53-yard Calgary kick. Eskimos have lost 5 of their last 6 games. Their record 3-7, but in this Labor Day rematch, they have won 5 of the last 6. Calgary prevailing last year, however, 16-11. Troy Davis getting the ball early in this first quarter, and Troy Davis running with authority.
You know, Danny Machocha, you mentioned, Chris, off the top of the show. He talked to his guys today and yesterday about the pride it takes to play this game and to reach and try and challenge this football team. That goes right to the offensive line. He's talking to the guys who play in the trenches when he tries to appeal to that, the pride side of their character. He wants them to play a better football game.
Davis got 7, gets the ball again, and Troy Davis has a first down across the 30-yard line. Troy was 7 carries, 42 yards on Monday, and he may get 42 in the first quarter here.
So that's part of it. Establishing the run game. He's got 33 yards rushing already. We've seen Ricky Ray get hit once, but this football team has a chance to win if the offensive line plays better. And they're young up there. They got Joe McGrath on one side, Patrick Kabongo on the other side at the tackles.
There's the veteran offensive line coach, Bill McDermott, in at 4 a.m. every day, trying to improve this offensive line. Ray running for his life. And Ricky Ray, as he had to do on a number of occasions on Monday, scrambles out of trouble. He had 4 carries, 36 yards on Monday. The offensive line, obviously the focus. They have to get better, according to their head coach.
No, Ricky's a great quarterback. In my opinion, probably the toughest quarterback. I would say him and a guy like Dave Dickinson. They take more shots than anybody else. And they get up, they get back into the huddle, and you never hear them complain about it. But the reality is, Ricky's not going to make too many throws off his back. So we're going to have to find the time for him to set his feet, transfer his weight, and throw the ball downfield.
That time Ray scrambled for 8, 2nd and 2, and Troy Davis will convert up to the 43-yard line.
And it's not easy in this game for that offensive line. I talked about how young they are out in the corners. Patrick Kabongo starting for the first time this year. Joe McGrath on the other side's only been in the league 3 years. You got Rhett McLean that's going to play tonight for Glenn Carson, who's having some problems at the guard position, and Raleigh Roundtree, who's a rookie in the CFL. You've got a whole bunch of issues if you're the Edmonton Eskimos because of the Calgary Stampeders defensive front seven and what they do, sending all kinds of stunts from the linebacking core, different angles and different types of blitzes. They have to play smart, the offensive line. They have to pick up those linebackers coming, and they have to play physically. A lot to ask for a young group up front, but they don't have a chance if they don't play better.
Joe McGrath, who's playing left tackle, the only starter from last year's Grey Cup game, and he's playing a different position. So it has been a revamped offensive line. It's coming off the ball much better so far in this game. Davis out of the backfield. There is a flag down, and Abdullah tosses Davis to the turf. Troy Davis, the leading receiver among running backs in the CFL. That's catch number 49.
Yeah, and you know, Ricky Ray just can't take these hits every game like he's been taking. Just to expand that thought, 3 things happen when the quarterback...
Edmonton, number 56, 10-yard penalty.
Yeah.
Repeat, first down.
That's been another problem for Patrick Kabongo out there. 3 things happen when the quarterback takes the hits that Ricky Ray's been taking. One, it affects him psychologically, no question. I mean, as the game goes on, he's starting to look at the pass rush. That takes his eyes off the coverage. The other thing is it affects the receivers. Now they're not sure if Ray's even going to get the ball out of there, and then it'll affect the entire defense when they come on the field because they don't believe the offense can move the football.
10-yard penalty, 1st and 20. And here's the hit screen, and Daryl Mitchell has the catch. And Mitchell makes the miss, and now it's a foot race. And Mookie gets caught from behind at the 24-yard line. He had 10 catches last week, but nothing of this magnitude.
Patrick Kabongo right here. He's going to get out and get a block, and this is exactly what I'm talking about with the offensive line playing a little more physical. He gets in there, he gets his man, he gets a block to the field, steps up there. Raleigh Roundtree gets down the field and makes a block, and Daryl Mitchell has a chance to get into the open field and use his speed.
Kobe Reinhardt saves a touchdown. Mitchell takes it 54 yards. First down. And now it's Mitchell again on this side. Daryl Mitchell to the 8.
Ricky Ray's got the quick passing game going for the Edmonton Eskimos. This is another effect of hits on the quarterback, is that it changes the playbook for Danny Machocha. He's forced to go to the quick game, and fortunately right now early on for Edmonton, it's working. That's a couple quick throws to Daryl Mitchell.
Cedric Williams, the corner, tripping up Daryl Mitchell, who has 15 more. 69 yards worth on this drive, and it's 1st and goal at the 8. Play action. Davis released, and the ball for Davis. He didn't see it coming. Scott Coe in coverage.
He didn't see it, and Mookie Mitchell, Daryl Mitchell in the back of the end zone was waving frantically. So one receiver, the one that Ricky Ray was looking at, Mitchell's up here, and he's going to go across the back all the way across the formation, and he's going to start waving right about now. Hey, I'm open, I'm open, I'm open. And Ricky Ray didn't see him. He did see the receiver in Troy Davis, who wasn't looking.
One of the big offensive linemen down in the end zone, too. So it falls incomplete. It's 2nd and goal.
Well, maybe Ray saw him and threw it away.
2nd and 8. And Ray looking for Mitchell. Almost picked off by Cedric Williams. Incomplete. And a promising Eskimo drive stalls.
Well, pressure on Ricky Ray. He's not allowed to be as accurate as he normally is on this throw because he's gonna get some pressure in his face again. This is coming from the outside. Cornelius Anthony's in there as well. Khalid Abdullah comes off the corner.
Looks like Kabongo gave Abdullah a bit of a grab on the way through. Undetected. And Sean Fleming comes on to attempt from 16 yards out. And Fleming puts it through his second field goal of the opening quarter. 4:26 to play. It's 6-0 Eskimos. Ryan Rashog.
Thank you very much, Chris. Well, after that Monday matchup, Stampeder running back Joffrey Reynolds called out Eskimo linebacker A.J. Gass a little bit, said he was playing some dirty football, went so far as to suggest he was twisting ankles in some of the pileups. Now, I talked to Gass this week. For his part, he says, I don't know what he's talking about. I didn't twist anybody's ankle. But he did say he likes to play on the edge, and head coach Danny Machocha said, in fact, he wants to see A.J. Gass be a little bit meaner and nastier than he was on Monday, and knowing Gass, he will likely oblige his head coach, guys.
Joffrey Reynolds hit in the backfield and stopped for a loss. Did Joffrey forget it was Labor Day? Forgot to check the calendar.
Well, and with A.J. Gass, it could be any day.
Right.
You know, and that's the way he's going to play the game. Not that he's going to play dirty, but he'll play to the echo of the whistle. He'll be down that pile, and he'll get up forcefully. In other words, when he goes to get up, he's going to use whoever's under him as a way to push off and get up. And that's how a lot of times running backs feel like that's a little bit extra. That's what Gass gives you. He's only played in a couple now.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11 with 4 receivers to the wide side, and Burris rolling that way and throwing incomplete. Keo Craver all over Elijah Thurman. And so this Eskimo defense fired up early tonight.
Robert Brown leads the defensive line up front, but in the front 7, A.J. Gass is the key. There's Brown. He's got 6 sacks on the year. Adam Braidwood with 3. And then there's Gass. Gass will be one-on-one with Joffrey Reynolds all night long. That's nose-to-nose matchup we'll watch. A young and old secondary, nowhere in between. Malcolm Frank and Shannon Garrett, the veterans. Rose Buell, they're the youngsters.
Dale's to put it away. He's had a solid year, averaging 45.6 yards. And here's Tompkins. And a flag thrown well away from the return. We'll sort it out when we come back. Let's look at Cornelius Anthony. One of the more interesting stories that's unfolded in recent weeks in Calgary as he unseats, at least for the time being, the top defensive player in the league last year, John Grace.
Big shoes to fill, and he's doing it quite well.
Did he ever, with 3 quarterback sacks and a forced fumble in the Labor Day game, but Troy Davis has not been stopped in this first quarter.
And he bounces outside of Cornelius Anthony on the play. And Cornelius Anthony has to be more aware of Troy Davis here. There's Anthony there. There's Davis. Watch how he bounces to the right side of the formation. And nice move right there to bounce outside of the contain of Cornelius Anthony, then take off down the field. Now, Anthony's got to be more aware of Troy Davis in this one tonight. Obviously, Danny Machocha is going to try and commit to the run.
The Eskimos only have 2 100-yard rushing games as a team this year. Both came in wins. Troy Davis is going to change that here. A huge hole opened up by that beleaguered offensive line.
Well, and I guarantee you it's that offensive line that is absolutely loving the play calling. How about Tim Baker right there? Watch the hole that he and Raleigh Roundtree are going to open up to the left side of the formation. Baker gets good hands right there. Look at the blocking. And now a huge lane right down here for Troy Davis.
Brett McLean kicking out Demetrius Maxey. It's 14 more for Davis. He has had a 100-yard game this year, and look at that in the first quarter. First down, and now Mike Bradley comes in as Davis gets a breather, and Bradley with a couple.
It's a great strategy for Danny Machocha to try and run the football, establish Troy Davis, because with this stunting defense, the Calgary Stampeders, when they have linebackers flying through different holes, if you can catch him offensively in one of those stunts and get good blocking angles, you've got a chance, and you can get some big yards along the ground. So now the Calgary Stampeder linebacking corps have to change their mindset. They were after the quarterback last week. Now they have to run stop.
Passing situation here, 2nd and 8, and Ricky Ray will call a timeout. 6 times this year,
Edmonton.
the Stampeders have allowed 50 yards or less rushing the ball. They've only surrendered 1 100-yard game to a running back. That was Joe Smith in his big 138-yard game at McMahon.
And guess who wasn't in that game when Joe Smith ran? Brian Clark wasn't in that game. And he is the key to that defensive squad, that front seven. He does it all for the Calgary Stampeders. Missed a couple of games due to injury, and when he was out, it was a very different defense, and you can tell by the numbers. Rushing yards is the key right there. I mean, rushing yards when he was out. Look when he's in. 75.3, 132 with him out of the lineup. So that's where that matchup is created. Brian Clark and Troy Davis tonight.
Final minute, first quarter. The Eskimos approaching 75 yards on the ground already. 2nd and 8 underneath Ed Hervey, wide open. Boy, they cleared out the entire middle, and Hervey with an easy first down.
Well, what they do, that's the Brian Clark area of the football field, which is right here. Hold on just for a second, guys. Here's Brian Clark. Now go ahead, run it. Brian Clark has to open up and follow a receiver. He's gone out of the middle of that defense. Why not drop it right where that middle linebacker would leave? Watch Clark. He's past responsibility now. Goes out there on Tucker in case Tucker's going to run an inside route. He's got his back completely to the middle of the field.
Final play, first quarter. Eskimos have moved the ball impressively. They lead by 6 and swing it out to Daryl Mitchell, who's had a huge first quarter and pushed out near another Eskimo first down. And that is the end of the opening 15 minutes here at Commonwealth Stadium. Eskimos with the lead. First quarter stats are brought to you by Rona, proud league-wide sponsor of the CFL.
You can tell the Edmonton Eskimos got some things going offensively. 9 first downs. They're dominating the time of possession, but they need to score.
And Tom Higgins mentioned last week he felt his offense left some points out there in the table. Danny Machocha could say that about his first quarter.
Well, they're dominating offensively, but they haven't punched it in for majors. They've had 2 chances in the end zone, and that can sneak up and catch you later on once Henry Burrs gets on track. So, yeah, they've got to capitalize in the red zone.
With that said, it might be the most impressive quarter we've seen from Edmonton offensively this year.
Without question, they have a little bounce in their step.
Impressive first quarter, and Daryl Mitchell with 9. So it's 2nd and 1, and Ricky Ray will push ahead behind Raleigh Roundtree. This has been a team that has started slow most of the season. And again, coming in the first 3 meetings against Calgary with just the 1 field goal, and still just 6 points, a pair of field goals in the opening quarter here.
Well, and good opportunities in this football game in that first quarter. They have the 2 field goals, and they have positive yards and moving the football, but 2 chances in the end zone, 1 a drop by Ed Hervey, and 1 a chance to get that corner. Daryl Mitchell didn't get that.
Eskimos showed twin tight ends, and now Ricky Ray has Mike Bauer, and he's got it, and somehow avoided what would have been a jaw-rattling hit from Kobe Reinhardt.
Well, and Mike Maurer will keep his feet in bounds here, which was tough in itself. To the left of your screen, little play action fake. When you establish Troy Davis, now play action becomes more valuable for you, and that's a nice catch for a fullback out in the open field to get his knees are down and inbounds.
Remember earlier in the year, Reinhardt rattled Maurer's cage with one of the hits of the season, and that one just missed. A heck of a catch by the fullback, who will be in there more often tonight with Matt Bertrand out of the lineup. Here's Davis again. Troy Davis inside the 5, and it's another first down run. Davis with 1 100-yard game as an Edmonton Eskimo. It came late last year. He's on pace tonight.
Well, obviously, Danny Machocha has decided he is just going to take a whole lot of pressure off his offensive line and allow them to go ahead and drive block people. Allow them to get off the football, get a little weight over their hands that are down in the ground, and just take off and drive block and allow Troy Davis to find the hole behind him. That's the best and quickest way to take pressure off an offensive line.
But now, into the score zone and pushing ahead. It was 2nd and short, and Ray behind that inspired offensive line sets them up about the 2-yard line for a 1st and goal.
You knew it would be a very different game. I mean, Labor Day, the Edmonton Eskimos just did not look good on any phase of the game, whether it be special teams, defense, or offense. Go over to Calgary, and as often happens, the Calgary Stampeders at home on Labor Day take it to Edmonton. But this rematch is very different. And you heard Danny Machocha talk about this team playing with a little more pride.
Impressive drive, 89 yards. They've got 2 big yards left. First and goal. Davis the lone setback. And here's Troy Davis trying to get outside and nothing doing. Drop back at the 4-yard line. Met by a wave of Stampeders, including the safety, Trey Young.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of penetration to the right side that's going to cause Troy Davis to bubble. Here he is back here. And watch when he gets out here, he's going to go along the line, and then he's going to have to bubble deep. When he bubbles a couple yards, that's when he gets caught. He wants to find a hole right up in there, and I believe it's Raheem Abdullah right in there who caused him to bubble back, and then Brian Clark can make the tackle.
That was Brian Clark making a huge play. They'll spot it at the 4, a loss of 2. 4 receivers come to the wide side. Play action. Ray rolling under pressure. And he threw it away. Jason Tucker, closest man. But that's a hurry by the Calgary defense. And the Eskimos come up short again.
Wow, and you know, that's 3 times in the red zone now. 3 times chance at a touchdown, chance at the major. And they're going to have to come away with field goal attempts on all 3. Brian Clark hits it. So does Cornelius Anthony on the blitz. Khalid Abdullah is the guy with the pressure. He forces Ricky Ray out of that pocket. And so Jason Tucker, whether he's open or not, is not going to see the football. And well, that's a movie that Danny Machocha has seen a bit this year. An open receiver, but pressure on the quarterback, not allowing the ball to get out of there.
Khalid Abdullah, the man who was putting pressure on Tucker, remains down. He's getting attention. We'll take a timeout here early in the second quarter. His own power to the Stampeder bench. And looks like he'll be able to return. And another short field goal attempt upcoming for Sean Fleming. It was 18 of his last 20 after a slow start to the year. And Fleming makes it 9-0 here early in the second quarter, but a couple of drives come up short deep in Calgary territory. Danny Machocha a little more emotional in his address to his players today, we are told. We talked about appealing to the pride of the green and gold, and obviously the coach, the staff, the team under a lot of heat here. Danny Machocha's father in the political arena in Quebec knows all about that. Called his son yesterday and said, I'm coming out here to give you a little moral support.
That's great for Dad to be here, I'm sure, for Danny Machocha. And a lot of pressure on him, of course, and on this football team. And if you're a half-full guy, Danny Machocha's Edmonton Eskimos are up 9-0. If you're a half-empty guy, it should be 21. What are you?
Yeah, certainly the last 2 should have been there. Ed Hervey lets one off his fingertips, and right now this is the best we have seen Edmonton play in maybe all season long, and still there's reason to be concerned if you're on that bench that they're not getting it completely done.
Well, that's the guy. The guy sitting to the right of Ricky Ray was Troy Davis, and that's been the difference tonight for the Edmonton Eskimos. Troy Davis, 35 yards against BC in a loss, 42 against Calgary in the last 2 games.
This time the Stampeders electing to accept the kickoff. This is J.R. Ruffin. He's tripped up at the 27-yard line, and he gets up and jaws with Singar Mobley. Well, Henry Burris with 88 yards rushing last week, and the biggest play of the game, probably the final play, first half.
He breaks out of the pocket here on Labor Day, makes a move on Singar Mobley, and look at that now. I'll tell you what, plays like this from your quarterback rally the troops. And he took a little criticism on that one because the clock was running down, but I love the decision. He was decisive. He went after it, and that was the game breaker right there.
Burris trying to get things going, the pump, and then he ends up throwing it in the flat. And Joffrey Reynolds has A.J. Gass draped all over him.
You know, and just to get back to that Henry Burris thought in running the quarterback, I talked to him about that in his 88 yards on Labor Day, and he told me that, you know, throughout my career, I'm not a running quarterback. I am a pocket passer. If you go back to 2000 in Saskatchewan, yeah, he was a pocket passer, just under 88 yards rushing. But Henry Burris is evolving into a running quarterback, and those numbers would back that point up.
2nd and 8 after the 2-yard pickup. Pressure! Oh, Burris hit. It's picked off. Charles Alston. Touchdown, Edmonton. And this time, the pressure we've been talking about comes from the green and gold.
It comes off the edge from Adam Braidwood. Alston gets the touchdown. Braidwood right here. He's going to get the hit. Here he comes. Off the corner on Tyler Lynham, who's not even going to get there. He slides down, and he can't get outside in time. Braidwood, great speed. He gets the hit. It bounces into the hands of Charles Alston. Touchdown, Edmonton. Their defense gets the first major of this football game.
Fleming adds the extra point. And the Eskimos get the touchdown.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you by General Motors of Canada and all its divisions. And by Coors Light, the Silver Bullet.
If the offense can't put it in, the defense gets the job done. Charles Alston took a controversial roughing the passer call last week and atones here with a touchdown. They are ruling a fumble recovery, not an interception, but it is a touchdown.
Nice call by Rick Campbell, the defensive coordinator, and tremendous disguise from that defense. Marcus Wynn involved and Tico Dalton involved, and it confused Tyler Lynham and Taylor Robertson. The right side of that offensive line by disguise.
Fleming, high, short kick. Roughing it is 28, and 28 breaks the first tackle, and then brought down by Quincy Stewart.
So here we go. Let me show you again what I'm talking about. There's Marcus Wynn. There's Antico Dalton. Now, these guys, hold on for a second, guys. Now, here's Robertson. He thinks he's got to go here. Tyler Lynham there. Braidwood off the edge. But what they do is drop Antico Dalton out of there. Go ahead and run it. Antico Dalton's going to drop after the disguise. Tyler Lynham thinks he's coming. He's not coming. It's Adam Braidwood off the edge. He gets the sack. Tyler Lynham makes the mistake.
Lynham in his second game. We talk about the young Eskimo offensive lineman. Lynham in his second game for the injured Jeff Pilon, who underwent arthroscopic knee surgery 2 days ago. So the Stampeders in a hole, down by 16. Burris goes back to the air, and that pass incomplete behind Elijah Thurman, the intended receiver. And we have mic'd for the sounds of the game tonight, the loud middle linebacker of the Eskimos, A.J. Gass.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Man, you're a rookie. Watch. Tommy, set my pads. 1, 2, 3. Is that clean enough for you? Was that soft enough for you?
Oh, there. A.J. Gass reads the papers. Clean hit. Dan Comiskey had to set his pads. Marcus Wynn on the blitz. And that catch dropped. Looked like Nick Lewis made a circus catch, but couldn't squeeze the pigskin. It's a 2-and-out for a fired-up A.J. Gass-led defense.
First of all, I love the beginning of that. Set my pads, and he gets the rookie to set his pads. That was Joe McGrath, and he kind of gives him the tap, and then he goes to Comiskey and says, would you please set my pads? The rookie has no idea what to do. Knocks his pads down in there so he feels good. And, you know, he has set the tone tonight. He's made some tackles on Joffrey Reynolds behind the line of scrimmage, setting the tone for that defense. Something they'd missed.
Just his third start of the year, and his first game in Winnipeg, he came out of quickly with a hamstring problem. Great kick, a flag down. Dale's driving Tompkins back all the way to the 12-yard line. But Tompkins with the return as he scampered along the sideline up to the 30. We'll sort out the flag when we come back. Been a lot of talk, a lot of consternation this week about the 34-year playoff streak in jeopardy. Some of the players on the wall that played on the last team to miss, 1971, the last time the Eskimos did not make the playoffs.
There's Bruce Lemmerman. He came in partway through that season, the quarterback, and there's McGowan up there. He's the top guy right up there, number 76. And yeah, it looks like the Edmonton Eskimos have been reading the papers and listening to that history lesson and saying they do not want to be the team that breaks the streak.
And Mark Twain, right? Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Well, it's early, but the Eskimos still have some life. Daryl Mitchell ran around and ends up back at the 5-yard line. Loss of 1. Well, they all know about the streak and what they have to do to keep it alive.
I know what I signed up for. I realize where I'm coaching, but I also realize something else, that I've been here 5 years, and collectively, the 4 previous ones, we've been to 3 Grey Cups and won 2. That's a reality. Now, whether people understand it or not, I can't help you. But we're also proud individuals. This is year 5, and we come to work early in the morning, we get home late at night, and we give it all we got as coaches and as players.
And I love that. See, he basically faced it down. You know, back in 1971, that was when they released Dirty Harry. Was the movie. He looked a little bit. He had a little bit of that Dirty Harry swagger in that clip, didn't he? French Connection actually won the Oscar that year. It's a long time ago.
Gene Hackman, just to prove that I've watched a few flicks.
Nice.
I had to come up sooner or later.
Joy to the World, the #1 song by Three Dog Night at that time. That's a long time ago, and the Edmonton Eskimos do not want to be part of history in the negative way, and that streak coming to an end.
Of course, 1971, the Stampeders are saying, hey, we won the cup that year, beating Joe Theismann and the Toronto Argonauts.
Well, boy, Calgary, if they can find a way, come back in this game. It's only 16 points, so there's lots of football to be played, but the Calgary Stampeders could really bury the Edmonton Eskimos' chances here, making that playoff run.
Daryl Mitchell was shaken up on the last play. That's why we have a bit of a break. He's being helped off. The lone holdover from 1971 still with the Eskimos is that man right there who never looks a day older, year in, year out. Dwayne Mandrusiak, the equipment man, who was, he said yesterday, 14 when he got his first job in 1971. Thought, geez, maybe the playoffs are a tough thing to get to.
By the way, Tom Wilkinson came in 72, and they didn't look back after that.
Loss of 1 for the injured Daryl Mitchell. 2nd and 11. Keeler with the catch, but he'll be short of the first down as he was nailed by Brian Clark. And the Eskimos will have to punt from deep in their own zone. Well, you can catch Wendy's CFL on TSN Sunday. The Saskatchewan Roughriders taking on the Blue Bombers in Winnipeg. It's the Banjo Bowl. Coverage starts at 3 Eastern. New Pacific also available in TSN HD. We hear that Doug Barry's going to give us a different look as he tries to shake the Bombers out of their doldrums.
Again, that's a similar situation that the Eskimos and Stampeders play in these 2 weekends. That Labor Day Sunday game, often Saskatchewan gets the jump on Winnipeg in Regina, and then the rematch is a very tough game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders to win.
Okay, Coach, do you give up 2 here?
Yeah, I think you have to.
Marcus Howell awaits. Will he get a chance? And the Eskimos running out some of the time.
And for the Calgary Stampeders, they're in a situation where they've weathered the storm in the
Edmonton,
rematch.
98. Half the distance to the goal line. Repeat, 3rd down.
And clearly Edmonton's going to give up 2, so it'll get them on the board. And maybe this can be the momentum swing that Tom Higgins is looking for, because it's been all Danny Machoch's Eskimos in the first half. You kind of expect that in the rematch with the big crowd here in Commonwealth Stadium. But as the visiting team, you want to weather that storm early, try and take the crowd out of it, hang around, and they've done that by not giving up majors, and then make your run. And Tom Higgins is by no means out of this football game at this point.
And they let the clock run again.
Count violation. Edmonton number 11. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat, third down.
I don't think we've ever seen that before where they don't even come out of the huddle the second time.
Yeah, this is one of the things that has to be changed, I believe, in the CFL. And one thing that has to be looked at, it's deliberately done. It's within the rules at this point, but it just doesn't quite look as professional as I think it should.
Not quite a fan favorite strategy. And now Fleming will kill a little more time and just get out with Walter Spitzer in pursuit. And so it is 16-2 here in Edmonton. Kicked off last night with the defending Super Bowl champions on TSN, beating the Miami Dolphins. Hey, there's Sandro DeAngelis. He has his own seat provided by one of the season ticket holders. He kept sitting on Pat Clayton's cooler, and he kept getting kicked off, so one of the season ticket holders brought Sandro his own cooler. Burke Dales now has his own.
What's in it?
And sometimes the season ticket holder, a lovely lady in Calgary, puts homemade jam in there.
Yeah.
She came down last week during the game and asked for the jam jars back so she could refill them. Hey, only kickers, eh?
Wow.
Hey, here's a broken tackle. J.R. Ruffin. He's not going to be caught. Inside the 20. Touchdown. J.R. Ruffin. It's the first kickoff return touchdown of the year.
And just like that, the Calgary Stampeders are back. I don't know what that is, but that return was something else.
It's the celebration of a 90-yard kickoff return touchdown.
Well, he is untouched. I mean, there's not really many tackles that he has to break here. Look at this. Right in through that lane. He's got Wes Cates, a great special teams player. He gets a piece. Well, there's one little break, and then away he goes to the outside. A block down the field from Wes Cates. Maybe the best special teams player on that Calgary Stampeder outfit, and there he goes. Ruffin in the end zone, and just like that, Calgary is back in it.
Sandro off his seat to add the extra point.
Wes Cates leads the Calgary Stampeders with 13 special teams tackles. He'll throw the big blocks for them as well, and that's a biggie.
Ruffin led the league in kickoff return yards. His longest was 52 coming into the game, and I think Tom Higgins said he was due to break one, and that was a prophetic statement.
And he gets the block he needs. Like, Wes Cates gets his hands on one. Look at there. There's Cates again. There's the block on the only guy who could make the tackle, Sean Fleming. And now it's a matter of whether or not Ruffin can outrun Shannon Garrett, and he does that.
That was a valiant effort by Garrett. He showed some impressive wheels for a 34-year-old, but J.R. Ruffin was not going to be caught.
Craig Dickinson, the special teams coach for the Calgary Stampeders, he is finding new ways, new and innovative ways, game in and game out, to not only now spring returners, but run some fakes. He had a great game against the Montreal Alouettes, ran successful fakes in that game. He's continually having this football team ready on special teams.
You talked about the missed opportunities by the Eskimos, and now the only difference in the game is the defensive touchdown by Edmonton.
Yeah, that's when it starts to come back and grab you right in the backside. The Edmonton Eskimos, 3 chances for majors, should have had 21 there. If they get that defensive touchdown, it's 28-16, and they're still cooling their heels, even though they've had that return against them. But now it's a ball game.
So DeAngelis gets ready to kick it off. Tony Tompkins would love to answer. And Tompkins dropped at the 35-yard line. We've got a winner in our competition, so Thanks to J.R. Ruffin, let's join Dave Randorf.
Yeah, well, Chris, Teresa Gleason of Edmonton, you have just won a 50-inch Prima Plasma TV thanks to Safeway's touchdown and win promotion. So congratulations, Teresa. And if there's another kickoff return in tonight's game, you could win $1 million.
So Teresa, oh boy, stay with us. Teresa, the only Edmontonian excited about that J.R. Ruffin kickoff return for a touchdown. So
for another.
Heat goes back on the Eskimos, and Troy Davis goes back to work. Drilled at the 38-yard line after a gain of 3.
Number 32, Troy Davis, runs right.
Ruffin doesn't get much of a break because now J.R. Ruffin has to come on in the passing situation. He's the nickel for the Calgary Stampeders, along with Wes Lysak, who's the dime. So when they bring on extra defensive backs, they bring in Ruffin and Lysak. Now it's Ruffin, so he's got to catch his breath after the return and go out there and cover.
This is the Stampeders' dime defense that checks in on passing situations like 2nd and 7. Here comes the rush. Ray shrugs it off. Not that time, and he loses the ball. The Eskimos pounce on it, and Raleigh Roundtree protects it for the Eskimos.
Calgary Stampeders have grabbed the momentum in this football game in a big way. Where this offensive line was aggressive in the first quarter and a half, now they're on their heels. Ray has to dodge that hit, and he gets it from the backside.
Tony Tiller, the man who forces the fumble. Roundtree gets back on it. Remember, 5 sacks, 15 hits on Ray last Monday.
And 40 snaps.
That's a bad percentage if you're the quarterback taking all that punishment. Marcus Howell to return the punt. Fleming high, but not deep. And this one bouncing back. Be picked up at the 44. And Burris and the Stampeders will go back to work.
The Chrysler 300, a fuel-efficient 250 horsepower V6 engine, electronic stability program, elegantly appointed leather-trimmed interior, 5-star government frontal crash test rating, and perhaps its most intense characteristic, its striking design.
In the offense and tripped up again. Joffrey Reynolds behind the line of scrimmage. There's A.J. Gass again. This is looking more like last year when Reynolds had just 80 yards in 3 games against the Eskimo defense. This year's Matt Dunnigan mentioned off the top, 322 yards in the first 3 meetings.
Yeah, 107 a game, but they're doing a nice job this time on number 21, Joffrey Reynolds. That's gap cancellation, and you see that was A.J. Gass, who's going to drive back his man right into the running lane. Right there. Now Joffrey Reynolds not giving him a chance to cut.
2nd and 11 and downfield. Rambo can't bring it in.
Well, Henry Burris threw a strike. And Rambo had his hands on it. There was an Edmonton defender right on the heels of Rambo. It's going to be right up here in the top end of your screen, right at the top. There he is, and he is open. The ball is thrown on the money, and that is just hustle from Malcolm Frank from the outside in, not giving up on the play and not allowing Rambo to come down with it.
Under 4 minutes remaining in the first half, the Stampeders with only 21 yards of offense. Had a great night of punting for Burke Dales. Another beauty. And Tompkins inside his 10. Flag comes down as Tompkins found a seam up to the 26. 60-yard punt, so Burke Dales is really hoofing the football tonight.
Jason Tucker with 8 touchdowns so far this season behind G. Roy Simon of the BC Lions has not seen the football tonight. He was pointing at it in that picture saying to Ricky Ray, this is the ball, throw it to me. But you got to give credit to the Calgary Stampeders right now who are defending number 83 pretty well.
Last 5 games for Tucker, he's been held to under 63 yards, which is not typical number 83.
No, but it's not Tucker, and it's not the receiving core. It is the fact that Ricky Ray has not had time to deliver the football in rhythm.
Well, the Eskimos backed up again. Let's see what they do. Davis out of the end zone and had a little room off the left side. Reinhardt steps up and joined Anthony on the hit as Troy Davis has accumulated 80 yards in this first half. His season high is 91 against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He had a 90-yard game against BC. And the 3-minute warning has been given to the benches here in Commonwealth Stadium at 16-9 Eskimos.
I am looking forward to that. You know, both quarterbacks over 70,000. Damon Allen passing Warren Moon on Labor Day in Hamilton.
2 of the all-time best and 2 of the classiest. Well, congratulations, and that ball does get out to Darryl Mitchell. It'll be short of the first down at the 10.
Bounced off the crossbar.
Yeah, and is that allowed to? Wondered if that ball might have been dead off the bar. You have to call that shot, don't you?
Yeah, off the backboard, off the rim, off the rafter.
How does this work?
Nothing but net. But Ricky Ray doesn't. He doesn't read the goalpost in the coverage, but bounces off, and I think they will be calling it dead. They're taking it back. As soon as it touches the goalpost, it's a dead ball. Or are they bringing it back?
Well, he was stopped short.
Yeah, they're punting either way. It could be a kick.
They did indeed count the catch, but it was short of the first down.
Certainly when a kick touches the goalpost, it's a dead ball.
Okay, Coach, again, another safety. Last time
you have to. You know, you have to, and here's why.
After this is the goal, repeat 3rd down.
Yeah, I guess they are, since they're already running the clock down.
Yeah, and the fans hate this because you're giving up. You're giving up yards, you're giving up points. It's just giving in football, it just doesn't go together. It's an oxymoron to say give in football and the same thing. You don't give anything, you take.
The other thing I'm thinking is Calgary's going to have plenty of time no matter how much time they chew up here. Calgary will have time for their possession. Are you costing yourself time to get the ball back again in this half?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. You know, you don't have that big a lead that you want to kill time.
That's Tony Ficklin who pushes Fleming out. 2 more.
What's up, everybody? This is Henry Burris of the Calgary Stampeders, and you're watching CFL Friday Night Football on TSN, Canada's sports leader.
Henry Burris and the Stampeders have been up for the last few weeks. They're riding a 4-game win streak, and they have inched back into this game without much done by their offense so far.
Well, they haven't been able to get Joffrey Reynolds going. That's the start. And Henry Burris has had a couple of drops. Big one to Kenyon Rambo that was dropped. Could have been big offense for him. But he's going to get the football back with lots of time.
J.R. Ruffin trying to win $1 million for an Edmonton fan tonight. Away he goes. That spin, and he is not able to avoid the downfield coverage of the Eskimos. Well, Joffrey Reynolds has been held in check in this first half, and in large part it has been done by the man who he accused of being dirty last week, A.J. Gass.
You know, everybody don't play good, hard football or whatever, but, you know, the stuff under the pile and after a play, I think that's, you know, you can just leave that alone. But, you know, that's his game, and if he gets out doing it, that's fine. You know, we'll just take pleasure in winning.
The Stampeders start this offensive series with Reynolds watching and a 6-pack of receivers, and Nick Lewis has a catch and a first down at the 46-yard line. Under 2 minutes remaining in this opening half. 13 for Lewis, and let's eavesdrop in on the middle linebacker of the Eskimos, A.J. Gass.
There we go!
Yeah!
half, just the second Calgary first down, but that ball skipped. It's incomplete. A one-hopper to Kenyon Rambo, who was open downfield.
Yeah, but Henry Burris had to throw it over A.J. Gass to get it there. And it was Gass who gets up there, and he causes the poor throw from Henry Burris. He's just going to drop right. Watch A.J. Gass just drop into his zone coverage. And he probably like a little more depth. But see, he makes Henry Burris throw it over his head, and he can't get it there.
2nd and 10, Stamps at their 46. Stampeders looked offside. Flag flies, and Charbonneau wraps up Burris back at the 38. Again, a penalty marker on the play. One of the Calgary receivers looked like he was early in leaving the line of scrimmage.
The Edmonton Eskimos right now, Chris, are playing off the enthusiasm of A.J. Gass, and he has just been all over the football field. This time he's going to cut across the face of Taylor Robertson right here. He cuts across. Now he's going to cause some problems for the offensive line, allow his buddies to get to look at. They're double teaming him. They're trying to just get on A.J. Gass because he's causing problems for this offense right now.
Steve Charbonneau gets his 2nd sack of the season, and Burke Dales comes back in to kick.
So that's why Danny Machocha gives up 2, because he's forced a punt, not a field goal attempt.
Gets the 2 and out that they wanted. The Eskimos will get the ball with decent time remaining. Tony Tompkins straight ahead. Game tackled at the 28 with 66 seconds remaining first half. 5 points the lead for the Eskimos. Troy Davis reverses direction and ends up at the 35.
See what Troy Davis did there. He used his patience for all the young football players who are really getting into the swing of things. The amateur football gets going about this time of year. If you're a running back, that's an important trait to learn, is that it's not always just full speed into the back of your offensive line. That time, Davis was patient, waited for something to open up, and picked up pretty good yards.
Up to 86 yards in this first half for Davis. 2nd and 4. Out of the backfield, Maurer. First down. Mike Maurer out of bounds at the Edmonton 52. 38 seconds on the clock, and the Eskimos in a position to add to their lead.
Yeah, and they're going to call the play on the line of scrimmage. Again, patience from Ricky Ray this time to wait for things to develop. He knew he was going to drop it off to his fullback. Mike Maurer has made a couple of good catches so far in this first half. Now 2 first downs away from a field goal attempt at least for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Eskimos have burned their time out in this first half. Sean Fleming, longest of the year, 47 yards. So the Eskimos need about 17 yards at least. And there's a drop pass going through the hands of the veteran Daryl Mitchell.
Yeah, you know what Daryl Mitchell did there? You won't see that. You're not going to see that very often at all. But you know what he did? He took a peek where he wanted to run. Here he is here. And all he's trying to do now is just let the other 2 receivers get off the ball, and then he's going to put the brakes on. And now he takes a little peek with his right. See how he turned to the left a little bit there? And then by the time he got his hands back around, the ball had gone through them.
That play has been effective tonight. Hasn't always been effective this season. 34 seconds remaining. It's 2nd and 10. And underneath, and Hervey. And Hervey trying to kick it outside. And he'll be hauled down. J.R. Ruffin, part of that dime defense of Calgary, with a big stop. And J.R. Ruffin's having a good night.
Yeah, he's making some plays back there because he's coming on some blitzes. He's put some pressure on the quarterback. Has the big return. He's asked to do his job covering receivers. We haven't heard from Tucker. Often it's Ruffin covering Jason Tucker.
Now the Stampeders stop the clock. 25 seconds remaining.
Ed Hervey's going to be the underneath guy, and because Ricky Ray has so much time, he opens up. Had he put the brakes on and gone straight up the field, he might have had some yards, but he tries to get the corner.
Whoa.
Big block on the outside, but it didn't matter. I mean, here he comes from the reverse angle. Williams gets hit by Jason Tucker trying to throw some blocks. If he's not going to get the football, Tucker wants to get involved in some way, but Ruffin got underneath.
I think it's Williams that remains down after that thundering block by Jason Tucker.
Well, Williams, it gets the blind shot. Tucker's going to come back. Here's Williams is coming to your right. You're going to see, there he is right there. Okay, there's the shot. Well, look at that. He's got his eyes on Hervey, and that's one of those, Cornelius Anthony said in college they used, in high school they used to call those ooh shots. That's a ooh shot because it makes the crowd go ooh. Tucker trying to get involved even though he hasn't seen the football.
So Fleming to kick it away here with under a half-minute remaining. And the lead stays at 5. High kick again, not deep and out of bounds. No return. So Henry Burris has 18 seconds to work with. We know what he did with 9 seconds to go last week, but obviously the field position much different, and the success of the offense clearly a different story here tonight.
Yeah, with 18 seconds left to half, you think Henry Burris is just going to go and regroup, because right now the Edmonton defense has got the 2 weapons in check. They've got Joffrey Reynolds contained and completely nullified. Now they've got it, and they also have Henry Burris, and he's struggled.
And hats off to the Eskimo defense. They haven't given up a point. 2 safeties and the J.R. Ruffin kickoff return against a team that's put up 1,000 yards plus in the last 2 starts. There's Rambo with a good catch up at the 50.
Oh, there you go.
And 11 seconds left, and now they're 1 completion away from a field goal.
Yeah, you saw Steve Barato, the offensive coordinator, talking to Henry Burris as he went on the field. He must have said, look, take 1 shot, and if you can pick up about 20, then we're going to try and get in field goal range. If not, we'll get out of the half.
Remember last week, the huge momentum Burris provided. Even a field goal would be a big momentum boost here. And Thurman's got it. And Thurman's out at the 42. And that's definitely DeAngelis range with 1 second left on the clock.
And what a throw from Henry Burris. He sets up on the far side hash mark, and he strong arms that baby to the wide side out. Lies with Thurman. Look, watch him go. He goes all the way over there while he gets just inside that hash mark. And look at that throw on a rope to the wide side of the field. Really, Malcolm Frank has no chance to make a play on that one. And Calgary has a chance for a field goal. This guy's been money this year.
Super sophomore, 86%. He's hit from 52 and 53 in the final minute against Montreal. From 50 here, didn't get good wood on that one. Tompkins is going to bring it out.
He chili dipped it.
Tony Tompkins forced out on the final play, so DeAngelis comes up short, and we're through 30 minutes in Edmonton. The Eskimos with a 5-point lead.
Got the start they needed at home. 3 great drives. They got to Calgary's 30, Calgary's 9, Calgary's 4. But all they got out of all of those drives were field goals. Couldn't get into the end zone. They got the lead, but that could hurt them in the end.
They stopped the bleeding, Dave. They stopped the bleeding. They started controlling the line of scrimmage. That's what they needed to do. This offensive line, they needed to get out of the pass blocking mode. Ricky Ray, he's on set to be in top 5 passing yardage all-time in history, the Edmonton Eskimos. Hey, that's fine, but you know what? You got to establish the line of scrimmage, and Troy Davis has done that today, as well as the offensive line. Last week, 7 touches, 42 yards. In the first half alone, tonight he's got 13 for 86, and this has been the difference. He keeps Calgary off the football field. Hey, my hat's off to the Edmonton defense as well, guys. Why? Because they shut down Joffrey Reynolds, their nemesis. He's got 3 touches, Jock, for 0 yards in the first half.
Well, I've noticed, obviously, some improvements in the Edmonton's offensive passing game as well as the running game, Matty. And, you know, when your quarterback's taking a lot of heat, you've got to find ways to get rid of the ball early. And a lot of that depends on the receivers. Receivers have to be able to get open in man-to-man coverage. Here, Ricky Ray, he's got a guy in his face. It's not like he's got all kinds of time. but he knows he's got man-to-man, and Gaylor gets open. And here's the other thing they do, misdirection. Watch the way he's got guys flowing. Everybody's flowing this way. Just a simple little design play to come back around, and this is what gives Mitchell all the room in the world to run, because he got the Calgary defense moving in the wrong direction. Subtle things, Chris, but important.
Very subtle things, but also Troy Davis expected to play well in a football game. Daryl Mitchell expected to play well in a football game. Mike Maurer, oh my God, this is a fullback and a special teams player. Watch his contribution he makes to winning football here. As Ray rolls right, Mike Maurer looks like Ed Hervey stretching for a football. Great catch by the fullback. The other issue in this game is the ball control for Edmonton. 35 offensive plays. The Calgary Stampeders only 14.
Mike Maurer and his off-season Ultimate Fighting Championship buddy Adam Braidwood coming up with a couple of plays. Braidwood put the big hit on Burris that ended up allowing Charles Alston to romp into the end zone. Coming up in a moment, we're going to take a break in a second here. Brian Williams will be coming up with a sit-down interview with Damon Allen and Warren Moon. But before we do that, Matt, you want to tell us about the halftime numbers?
Yeah, let's do it.
They're brought to you by, hold on a second. Wait a second.
Come on.
They're brought to you by Coors Light, the Silver Bullet.
Now, Matty, now.
I was drinking one. Give me a second.
Sorry.
Here we go. Schultz, right here. You talked about it. 36 offensive plays to Calgary's 15. You got to keep that potent offense off the field.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, David. Pop another one.
Or not. And 61% of you said the 34-year playoff run is going to come to an end here in 2006. And welcome back to TSN's Friday Night Football. The big story in the league last week was Damon Allen becoming pro football's all-time leading passer. Tomorrow in Toronto, the Rogers Centre, the Argos will host the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And prior to the game, Damon Allen, number 9, will be honored on the 9th day of the 9th month, and it's going to be all about the accolades and the accomplishment of passing Warren Moon. Earlier this week, our Brian Williams had a chance to sit down with both of those guys, Warren Moon and Damon Allen, to talk about their accomplishments.
All right, David, thank you. Joining me here in the studio is Damon Allen, who will take on the Hamilton Ticats on Saturday. And joining us from SeaTac International Airport out in Seattle is Warren Moon on his way to Toronto. Warren, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brian.
Damon, good to have you here. Let me ask both of you, and let me begin with you, Warren. You're the 2 most prolific passers in the history of professional football. You're a Rose Bowl hero, yet because of the color of your skin, and times fortunately have changed, you had to come north to this country to be a quarterback.
I did, and I'm glad for that opportunity. I'm glad the Canadian Football League was there as a viable opportunity for me to continue to play football and play my first professional football. And I'll always be indebted to the Canadian people for that because they gave me my chance. And yes, it is ironic that it was so difficult for blacks to play that position, but here you see the 2 most prolific passers in professional football history are both African Americans. So I'm very, very proud of that, and very, very proud that Damon is the guy that actually is breaking my record.
Damon?
You know, it's pretty neat. You know, like I said, I wouldn't be playing in the Canadian Football League if I didn't know there was a viable option, especially when the NFL was during that time when I was in college. The NFL had the strike. And I already knew that Warren Moon went to the Canadian Football League. Then they started to show a lot of the Eskimo games, and by that time, you know, they were quite dominant. All these Grey Cups, and Warren Moon was playing, and I was inspired to come to the Canadian Football League, knowing that, you know, if I couldn't play quarterback in the National Football League, the CFL is an option.
Warren, I know you'll get a kick out of this. I want to ask Damon how much he was inspired by you, and before we went on the air, he said they called him Day Moon in Edmonton.
Yeah,
is that right?
my first couple of years. So, you know, it's a tribute to Warren and the way he played the game of football, especially in Edmonton and throughout the CFL. And my first couple of years, you know, they used to call me Day Moon.
Warren, how much were you aware of the chase and of what Damon was and is accomplishing up here?
I've been pretty aware of it. He's amazing to be playing at this level at 43 years old. Right there, you just have to take your hat off just to that. But the fact that he's been able to amaze all this production over the course of his career, it's just what an accomplishment.
Guys are wrapping me up. Warren, you've heard about the Pro Football Hall of Fame issue in Canton, Ohio. Should Damon Allen be in it? We talked to the Football Hall of Fame, and they said basically the rules state you have to
play in the United States, pro football, so it's a non-issue. Am I right in that?
Well, they really should change what it's called then. They should call it the United States Hall of Fame and not the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because I think because of Damon's accomplishments, he should be considered for it.
All right, Warren, we have to go. Tomorrow, when you speak, or Saturday when you speak in Toronto, what message will you have for Damon Allen, the fans at the Rogers Centre, and football fans right across this country?
I think the biggest thing is just congratulations to Damon, and also how proud I am of what he's been able to do, not only this year with this record, but the way he's handled himself on and off the field throughout his whole career. And then I just want to be very thankful to all the Canadian fans for all the support that they've had of not only me, but all Americans that come up to Canada to play professional football, to give them that opportunity.
Does this seem real to you? Have you had any sleep this week?
Well, I've been quite busy, but knowing that I can separate the two, because I know I have a game this Saturday, so you definitely want to play well in front of your heroes and all those things.
Warren Moon.
Yeah, don't have me coming all the way up there and then lay an egg, okay?
I'm not going to do that.
All right, listen, Warren, I know you got to catch a plane. We'll see you in Toronto Saturday afternoon. Thank you for joining us from
Looking
SeaTac.
forward to it.
All right, Warren Moon in Seattle, Damon Allen here in the studio, and David, let's go back to you. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Brian. Two great quarterbacks who handle themselves with the utmost class on and off the field.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things about Damon, and we all know him, and we've played with him, he's a youthful guy.
Oh.
I mean, he is not, I mean, some people say immature. He's not immature. He's just a kid. Yeah. And that, I think, is one of the things that's allowed him to play as long as he has, because most of us just get worn down by it, and he's just like a kid out there still.
Yeah, absolutely right. He's amazing, and he continues to amaze everybody. Looking forward to Saturday. Watch him do it again.
Yeah, it'll be a special day at the Rogers Centre in Toronto. The Eskimos are hoping this has a special ending. There's their lone touchdown, a defensive touchdown. They lead by 5.
Time to be ready.
What we do? Big play. What we do? Big play. Big play. 1, 2, 3. Big pass.
Woo! Friday Night Football.
TSN proud to present this game in high definition, courtesy of Sony, and available in 5.1 digital Dolby surround sound. The Labor Day rematch, Commonwealth Stadium, always a big crowd. Usually an interesting game with some different plays tonight. The first kickoff return touchdown of the season from J.R. Ruffin. And the home side leading by 5 as we start the second half. And Ruffin with a stutter step. And finally surrounded at the 36-yard line.
Well, Ricky Ray moved the football in the first quarter and a half. He's racked up 166 yards passing. And Henry Burr has had one catch for over 20 yards to end the first half. Other than that, he's been held in check by this Edmonton defense.
Yeah, 43 yards in the last drive, which was basically, what, 3 plays? But under 10 minutes of offense. So the first half numbers a little skewed for Henry Burris. See if he can kickstart them early in the second half. The guy that clicked to get going is Joffrey Reynolds, and he has just not had a sniff so far. That time Shannon Garrett moving all the way up, and there was talk in the Eskimos defense that they weren't getting enough secondary support on the run on Monday in Calgary.
So Steve Barrato now has to make his adjustments after a first half of football offensively that they just did not get it done, did not find the end zone. 5 punts and 1 turnover for what has been a very potent offense over the last 3-4 games.
On this 4-game win streak, 8 touchdown passes for Henry Burris. Short drop over the middle, and Copeland out of his reach, incomplete. Quick 2 and out for a Stamps offense that still isn't in high gear.
Well, that's another guy we really haven't even talked about at all tonight is Jermaine Copeland. I mean, he comes into the game with 40 catches, over 700 yards. He and Nick Lewis have been very quiet tonight. And he is working on the rookie Jonte Buell, and I think the Calgary Stampeders really felt like they had something there on Labor Day against the youngster.
Yeah, they weren't quiet during the week talking about Buell, saying that he just couldn't handle either of the slots, Lewis or Copeland. Burke-Dales with the punt. Daryl Mitchell with the return and flags as Mitchell is brought down at the 31. A 48-yard Dales punt. An illegal block on the punt return by Daryl Mitchell puts the ball on the Edmonton 12-yard line. The Eskimos have taken more penalty yards than their opponents in each of the last 7 games. And they have taken more penalty yards so far tonight than Calgary. And here's Troy Davis wrestled down by Cornelius Anthony, and then a little extra after the play.
Yeah, they're pushing and shoving there. Daryl Mitchell has got, it's interesting when you go into the Edmonton locker room. There's Daryl Mitchell's locker. Look who's right beside him to the right. That's Ricky Ray, the starting quarterback. Now, the receivers are across the room on the opposite side. There's Ed Hervey and Trevor Gaylor and Pat Woodcock. And I found that interesting. You know, last week on Labor Day, Mookie had 10 catches. Led the team in catches. Tonight, he's got 5 for 80 yards. That leads the team in catches. Maybe that's how you do it. You put your locker right beside the quarterback.
Be in the ear of the quarterback. Here's Ray, second down. Davis releases across the middle, and Troy Davis with a little extra effort to get a first down when it looked like he'd be stopped short. Catch number 50 on the year for Troy Davis.
And of course, they've had to, you know, with the pressure on Ricky Ray, just to follow up that story with Daryl Mitchell, the pressure on Ricky Ray, they've been forced to throw a lot of these check down type of routes. Ricky Ray this time goes to Troy Davis, but we've seen Daryl Mitchell a bunch of times catching those little hitch passes out to the right and left of the formation. And really, Danny Machocha forced to go to a quick passing game.
Back to Davis on the ground. And Baker is leading the blocking. Davis to the 27. There's Demetrius Maxey at the bottom of the pile.
And why does Danny Machocha, Chris, have to go to the quick passing game? Because he doesn't want to get his quarterback killed.
Yeah, he'd like to have the quarterback for a few more weeks.
Well, how about a few more years, too? You know, and really, as big a concern as winning football games is for Danny Machocha, the health of his big investment and star quarterback is bigger. And he said that to us yesterday. He's getting hit too much. We got to protect him, even if it means quick passing game.
2nd and 7. Over the middle. Catch is made. Daryl Mitchell at the 40. Flag down. Ray may have taken a late shot.
Yeah, there's going to be yardage tacked on to this one. See the catch by Daryl Mitchell. I mean, that's one they, like we talked about right there in the locker room, just sitting side by side and said, I'll come across the middle.
Roughing the passer, Calgary number 48. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
Brian Clark late hit after the terrific catch by Mitchell.
Well, let's take a look at Mitchell come across the middle. And he is the best receiver, I think, in CFL history, at least in the time that I've been around, at bending his body around to be able to get the football. Here comes the hit from Clark. 1-2, couple steps.
Clark appealed the call to no avail at midfield. First down, Edmonton. Play action and Ray on a roll. Daryl Mitchell, from Kobe Reinhardt, and they're going to throw a flag on that.
Well, I'm not sure what the flag will be, but that was a solid hit coming across the middle, and of course Reinhardt he's allowed to do that. Ricky Ray, a little play action. There's 87 right at the bottom of your screen now. Look out! I don't know.
Is that one of those helmet-to-helmet calls?
Yeah.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness.
Why?
Calgary number 3.
Why?
15-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
You know, don't get me started on this rule. That's Reinhardt making a hit on a receiver coming across the middle, and because their helmets hit, well, their helmets hit. You know what? They got to look at this thing. I hate this rule.
Looked like they'd let up on the calls on the quarterbacks in recent weeks. Mitchell with his 7th catch, 108 yards, and like they're setting up the reverse. But Davis on the sweep, and he's hauled down by Raheem Abdullah.
You know, but that, let's not take away from Daryl Mitchell and what he's done in back-to-back plays here. I mean, he caught one over the middle earlier in this drive, and now this play for him. Look at Daryl Mitchell here. I mean, this is a veteran. This is not a young man either, and he ducks down, so the helmet-to-helmet contact is unavoidable from Reinhardt, and he hangs on to that football. You will not get hit harder as a receiver than Daryl Mitchell did right there, and he hung on to the ball.
19. That penalty's declined. 2nd down.
Mike Maurer called for holding.
And there is no possible way for Kobe Reinhardt to not hit helmet-to-helmet. Daryl Mitchell's 34 years old. And he just took as big a hit as you'll see in the game and hung on to the football.
Interesting, the Stamps declining the holding penalty because Davis lost 3. It would have been 1st and 20. They opt for 2nd and 13, and Ray got out of trouble, ditches it off. Troy Davis circled and brought down at the 28, well short. Well, not even back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and again, the Eskimo drive that looked so promising in their end of the field and at midfield comes to an abrupt halt at the Calgary end of the field. I'm counting now the 3rd time that the Edmonton Eskimos have had something going offensively, got down in that scoring area, and the Calgary Stampeders have bent and then shut the door and didn't break.
And despite a lead of 5 that could be extended to 8, fans unhappy that yet another promising drive hits a wall. And Fleming hits this one through. So Sean Fleming has 4 in the game, and it's 19-11. As Bill McDermott, the offensive line coach, works with the big boys on the sidelines after that drive.
The Edmonton Eskimos lose this football game. They will just talk about not capitalizing on their opportunities. Now they have the lead, and their defense is playing as good as it's played all season long. But you get the feeling that Henry Burris is going to break out sooner or later.
How long can they keep the Calgary offense in check? Here's Keats. Wes Keats up to the 38-yard line, and a penalty marker on the play that will have to be sorted out. Keats, of course, with the backbreaker last week, the 74-yard touchdown pass and run play late to put the finishing touches on the 44-23 win.
What?
Illegal block. Calgary number 45. 10-yard penalty on the run back. 1st down.
Glenn Johnson calling Walter Spencer's number.
That's the worst field position for Henry Burris. Now he has to back up inside his 20. In fact, just inside his 15. And what can he do to start breaking out of this offensive slump that the Calgary Stampeders are in this game? One way he can do is to go back to what Ricky Ray's doing, and that's the quick passing game. Get the ball out of his hands quicker, get it into the hands of the playmakers.
Offensive player of the week, 2 of the last 3 weeks. The offensive player for the month of August at the controls for the Eskimos. And here's a reverse. Nick Lewis coming around and has a 1st down.
This is another way, and I'll tell you why, because if you're playing against a defense that's playing aggressively and flowing to the football like the Edmonton Eskimos are, they're flowing to the football. So if they're going to take and flow, watch how quickly they're going in this direction. They're going to flow. So now you go misdirection. As soon as they are over-aggressive to the football and to Joffrey Reynolds, you let them flow to the football, go back the opposite direction with misdirection plays.
13 for Lewis. They had 6 different runners last week in the game. And now the option, and Henry Burris on his own. Adam Braidwood forces the fumble, but it falls into the hands of Kenyon Rambo. So a fortunate bounce back into the hands of a Stampeder.
Yeah, and plays that we haven't seen from the Calgary Stampeders. There's Burris right there in the middle of the screen, and he's going to head in this direction. When he heads in that direction on the option, again, play action to Joffrey Reynolds. There he is to try and get the attention to Reynolds. Now he's optioning on the outside to Gerald Dixon. Got a little bit lucky, but he had Rambo there as the pitchman anyway.
8 yards, 2nd and 2. The lone setback in the twin tight ends is Reynolds. And they'll toss it out, the hitch.
Quick game.
And it is Rambo with a first down.
So a little misdirection to take advantage of the pursuit of the Edmonton defense. And then quick game. Now there's Steve Barato starting to make some adjustments offensively. And now the next progression, you go quick game through this series. Quick game. The next direction is the hitch and go. I mean, that's the next progression, I should say.
Working against a defense that ranked last in the league coming in yards surrendered, 400 per game. And Burris in trouble and dropped by Steve Charbonneau, his second of the night.
Henry Burris wanted to get the ball to Joffrey Reynolds out in the flat. Charbonneau's going to come up. He just gets a good bull rush on. And watch, there's right here is Reynolds. He's going to come out, and he doesn't look back at Burris. That pocket's going to collapse on him. And Joffrey Reynolds, there he goes. He's got his back to Burris the whole time. Burris has to reload. He doesn't have time to get it out of there. And Steve Charbonneau comes up with his second sack of the night.
Didn't have a sack on Monday after the 9-sack performance in the previous Eskimo game in BC. 2nd and 18. Burris needs a bunch and goes for it. Nick Lewis flagged down, and Lewis double covered there. And we'll sort out the flag as Lewis signals he was interfered with en route.
You know, and I'm wondering if he had a lot of attention. And I know it wasn't LaRose over the top.
Illegal contact. Edmonton number 43. That's a 10-yard penalty.
It didn't.
Repeat. Second down.
It didn't look like LaRose to me made contact over the top. I thought it was a grab prior to the ball. Well, he does bump him before the ball arrives. That's a good call. That's a keen eye by the officials right on the spot. There's a little contact just before the ball drops in. It looked like the timing was pretty good to me when the play happened live, but that's a bang-on call by the officials, and Nick Lewis had it right. So did the refs.
Well, the rookie safety gets the call. Favorite movie, by the way, is Gladiator, which I think means he's trying to do a little politicking here, a little lobbying. There's Burris. Nick Lewis, the catch. And that should be a first down at midfield.
Henry Burris is having to give up yards, so that defensive line is getting after it right now. And Henry Burris is having to give up yards and then rely on his strength. There's some pressure from A.J. Gass in the middle. And look how far back he goes to deliver that throw and gets hit in the process.
Well, the Eskimos talked about more zone defense against Burris in the rematch. Lewis with a catch and a first down at midfield. And Joffrey Reynolds, his biggest run, crashing down to the 35 before Malcolm Frank puts the stop on Reynolds. Held in check until then.
Yeah, and it looks like now that Calgary offensive line, after seeing the quarterback get hit, now they get to drive off. You know, and the quarterback wants to take care of those guys up front. And so does the running back. That's a big hole. Reynolds not hit until he gets into the secondary. And, you know, both running back and quarterback, you hear all the time when running backs take out the offensive line for dinner. And that happens on occasion and on every team, and Joffrey Reynolds, I'm sure, will do that. Henry Burris likes to take care of his offensive line as well.
That's a big job, though.
Yeah, and he, once a year, Henry Burris will take the entire O-line, that includes any guys on the practice roster, the backups, and he'll take them out for dinner. And then they have set up sort of a ritual when it comes to taking them out for an all-you-can-eat steak dinner.
And apparently all you can eat is almost unlimited.
Is it ever?
There's Alex Gauthier, the left tackle, and he's just he's a world champion, I think, when it comes to, apparently, when it comes to putting away the groceries.
Well, this is what they do. It's an all-you-can-eat steak dinner, like you mentioned, and they order up a 56-ounce. This was Alexander Gauthier's menu when he went to the all-you-can-eat. 2 plates of salad. That's just to get started. 56-ounce steak, finish that off. A couple of onion plates, a couple of mushroom. 5, well, you want to get the Diet Coke because apparently he's watching his waistline. And the 5 pieces of cheesecake just to throw in there. That's just the menu for Alexander Gauthier.
I like the way he goes with the diet soft drink just to make sure you don't put on too many calories.
I mean, he's watching his weight. He doesn't want to. 56 ounces. I mean, that feeds our entire TV crew.
I mean, it's amazing he doesn't go on the disabled list as soon as that's over.
So Henry Burris at the end of that night has a bit of a bill. And I believe it was over $1,000. And Burris said, I asked him how much it was exactly, and he said, well, at about $1,000, I stopped looking at it and just handed him my credit card.
Yeah, fortunately, it's just once a year.
Yeah, and Tyler Lynham, he ate the 56-ouncer. So, you know, full credit to him. And a backup tonight, Derek Armstrong, number 60, he's over there on the bench. There's Tyler Lynham. He ate the 56-ouncer again. John Comiskey, he got to about 30 ounces and just that was it for him. And Derek Armstrong on the sideline, he ate the 56-ouncer. Only 3 guys that did it. There he is. He ate his raw.
Yeah, and it looks like a guy that eat it raw.
I mean, come on.
Wow. Well, there's an injury on the play, and they are still attending to that fine rookie safety, J.R. LaRose. Not putting much weight on the left leg, unfortunately. Let's take a look at the end of this play.
He has been such a bright spot for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Danny Machocha says he'll be patrolling center field in Edmonton for many, many years. The former Edmonton Husky.
He just throws it in there.
Strathcona High School star. And so LaRose goes out, and Kelly Wiltshire comes in, the veteran. Wiltshire playing on the last team to repeat as Grey Cup champions, the 97 Toronto Argonauts. Of course, the Eskimos trying to do it this year. Burris throwing to Nick Lewis with the catch, and he got down underneath A.J. Gass, who had him lined up for the Richter scale hit.
Henry Burris does a nice job to buy some time out here. He gets out here and buys some time, and you're going to see over here Nick Lewis, and he just does get underneath that hit from big A.J. Gass coming across the middle, and it's lucky that he did for his sake. And Jermaine Copeland in behind. If Burris has more time, guess what? Copeland probably scores.
Stampeders another first down this drive. Started at their own 14. Reynolds bounces off first contact, bounces off second contact, down to the 15. And that's what Tom Higgins was so impressed with. On Labor Day, he called it Joffrey Reynolds' best game as a Stamp because of yards after contact.
Yeah, the boys up front are starting to get off the football. They've got that steak dinner well digested, and then they just look to their big, strong running back. I bet you he could put down 56 ounces. He's so powerful back there, Joffrey Reynolds. He could finish off one of those steaks, I'm sure. Well, maybe not. I don't know any other human being other than offensive lineman that could eat one of those steaks, but that's some kind of run.
Kelly Wiltshire's been shaken up, and we'll take a timeout with 3:15 to go here in the third quarter. So 2 plays ago, we saw the departure of J.R. LaRose. Kelly Wiltshire comes in, and on that last play, he has been shaken up, and Rick Campbell is running out of safeties. William Loftus on the roster listed as a safety, but he looks like he is not coming in. just playing special teams.
I think it's Nick Lewis that gets Kelly Wilshire, and he's going to cut block Kelly Wilshire.
Well, the doctor's being called out.
Yeah, this one's ugly, and there it is, right at the top. It's right on the knee, and that's a cut block from down off the line of scrimmage, it looks like, from Nick Lewis on Kelly Wilshire. Didn't see him coming. And it's, you know, we saw, remember the Jason Tucker block? He came across and he was up high. That time Nick Lewis went down to the legs of Wilshire. Running plays, you can come down into the box and go down in there. If you come from too far outside, you're not allowed to do it.
So Wilshire continues to get attention. We'll take another timeout. Eskimos leading by 8. Dr. David Reed and the Eskimos training staff helping the veteran Kelly Wilshire onto the cart. Hate to see this. One of the great warriors over the years. Wilshire, a 10-year vet. Injury riddled the past few seasons. And in a lot of pain after the cut block from Nick Lewis.
Yeah, and Nick Lewis is going to come from this side. Now, you know, you're allowed to block on running plays, your receiver. And you can see how he goes down low on Kelly Wilshire. And we've just double-checked with officials up here in the booth, and it is legal to block below the waist for a receiver.
So the Eskimos losing 2 safeties.
The only time
in 3 plays.
Sorry, the only time a receiver cannot block below the waist, or it's called a cut block, is a potential pass receiver on the line of scrimmage can't do that.
Singar Mobley drops back. He'll play safety. Quincy Stewart into the game. Second and short. The pitch to Joffrey Reynolds, and he has a first down at the 6-yard line. And in this 4-game win streak, one of the keys has been the efficiency of the Stamps when they get into the score zone. Last 4 games, Steve Barato's crew 10 for 16, 62.5%. Touchdowns in the inside the 20 after just 35% in the first 7 games. So they have finished something the Eskimos didn't do in the first half. First and goal from the Edmonton 6. 2-back set. And coming around is Cates. And he stopped at the 4, and Quincy Stewart stepped up. The man who was the middle linebacker in the absence of A.J. Gass, now in at outside linebacker, as the Eskimos have to restructure their defense, losing 2 safeties.
And they want to load it up in the line of scrimmage, so they're going to, yeah, they bring in Quincy Stewart. They got Mobley back there at safety, Singar Mobley. So now it's A.J. Gass and two pure run stoppers playing linebacker. Gass in behind Quincy Stewart. There's Mobley at safety. Now down here, he's going to be part of the run stop defense for the Edmonton Eskimos also, because he doesn't have to drop back quite as deep. And I think Henry Burr's going to call a timeout.
Yes, he is. 12th play of the drive coming.
Calgary.
But Burris wants a chance to confer with Steve Barato.
Yeah, and I just want to go back to that Nick Lewis hit on Kelly Wilshire. And I like Nick Lewis, and I, you know, he's a good, hard-nosed football player, and I know he doesn't, but, you know, it's not illegal for a receiver to go low on a defensive back in the open field. But there is a bit of an unwritten rule that on a blind shot like that, you're going to stay high on the hit. And because you know, that could be, you know, those kind of shots are the kind that knock a guy out of the game.
Yeah, we don't want to be premature, but no, that had a career-ending look to it. Here's Burris into the end zone. Touchdown, Nick Lewis, flagged down. And Lewis said he had a different touchdown celebration celebration planned tonight. What are they going to get to celebrate?
Well, where is he going? Can't go out of the stadium to celebrate, and there's a flag down to see what the flag is first. He was one-on-one out there with Jonte Buell.
Well, he's going to make sure that it is.
Pass interference.
We've got a relay going.
Edmonton number 25. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
They got the 4x1 going around with the big 4. There they go.
This is not going over well at Commonwealth.
No, it's not. The one thing about that celebration, though, at least it's off the field of play, so we can continue to go. But it's one-on-one to the right side of the formation, and again, their red zone production has been big in the 4 games.
Convert added. There is a flag, a couple of flags on the convert. As Nick Lewis celebrates his 5th touchdown catch of the year.
Offside. Edmonton number 28. It's a 5-yard penalty that will be applied on the kickoff. Convert's good.
So the first offensive touchdown for the Stampeders. And it's a 1-point game here late in the 3rd quarter. Well, Nick Lewis had a quiet first half. It's tough to keep him quiet.
Little half roll here from Henry Burris, the quarterback. Watch how he just kind of gets outside, just in between the tackle and the guard. That buys him the time, and then he has a nice sight lines to get to Nick Lewis.
Up against Jonte Buell, the man he said couldn't cover him. Theo Craver on the return of that deep kickoff. The Eskimos are backed up.
They talked about going after Jonte Buell, the inside receivers. Nick Lewis, Jermaine Copeland. This time it's Lewis, and Buell's played pretty well. He had a great first half against the 2 inside receivers, and now Nick Lewis is starting to make some plays.
And the momentum shifting. The Eskimos with the lead, but it's just 1, and they are backed up here. This will be the 45th offensive play of the game for the Eskimos. They had only 41 all of Monday, and Troy Davis tossed down. Brian Clark, the glue of that Calgary defense, with the tackle and another penalty marker on the play. One of the big offensive linemen, Raleigh Roundtree, is slow to get up and then back down.
Holding. Edmonton number 19. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat, first down.
They came and picked up Kelly Wilshire. That was J.R. LaRose leaving on the same truck, and now Raleigh Roundtree. And LaRose got the shoes off, so that leg is up, and he is out of this one.
So the injuries mount, and Roundtree getting attention. Reminder to vote for the Rogers Player of the Game in the 4th quarter. Text message your vote using your Rogers phone and send to Go CFL. Rogers bringing you the latest MP3 phones. Troy Davis established himself as a candidate early in this game. But suddenly, Eskimo injuries a story.
And here's the penalty for the Edmonton Eskimos. It was Mike Maurer, the fullback, who's out here. And what he's going to try and do here is come around and then put the block on Cornelius Anthony. And he's going to tackle Anthony as he tries to step up. And look how quickly Clark will fill that hole. Brian Clark to the outside. So there's the penalty, and there's a great tackle from one of the premier linebackers in the CFL, and Brian Clark. The bad news for the Edmonton Eskimos, their offensive lineman is still down. Glenn Carson will come in to replace Roundtree.
Now, Suits, I thought it was a full moon tonight. You probably thought it was a full moon tonight, but our resident astronomer, Paul Hemming, director, who provided us with this nice shot, tells us that's a waning moon.
A waning moon?
The Eskimos' lead has been waning in this 3rd quarter.
I got you. I smell what you're cooking.
A reminder that TSN and CTV bring you the 3rd round of the Canadian Open tomorrow, beginning on TSN at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 Pacific. Continued on CTV at 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific. All rounds available. in high definition. Rod Black, Jim Nelford, and the crew taking you through the action. David Hearn, the top Canadian, with a tidy 67 today. He is at 4 under par, I believe 3 off the pace, but no Mike Weir in the final 36. Roundtree up, and
if there's any offensive linemen that play golf, not likely.
We're talking to Doug Brown in Saskatchewan about how tough it is when you're, what, 6'7", and they just don't build clubs for. Those would be custom made.
Yeah, he gets a sore back having to bend over to take the shot.
And Doug's not thinking about golf. He's thinking about Sunday.
That's right.
Well, look forward to the Banjo Bowl. Saskatchewan and Winnipeg in their rematch.
Not surprising. This is a close game. I mean, there's been some magical moments in the rematch. Both these football teams, and another close game as they battle on Labor Day and come back in here for the rematch in Edmonton.
Glenn Carson in for Roundtree at guard. 1st and 20 after the Maurer holding call. Here comes the Heat. They get it away quickly, and Davis drops it incomplete.
Well, it's good play call from the Edmonton Eskimos, number one, because they know Calgary's going to send the house with having to make the changes in the O-line. So Edmonton makes the O-line changes, and Calgary's going to send pressure. There goes Brian Clark, 48. There goes Wes Lysak from the safety spot. And the Edmonton Eskimos had the right play called. They had people lined up to make the blocks. Daryl Mitchell had the block. Danny Machocha wrote it up, called it at the right time. And the old human element came in. Drop ball by Troy Davis.
Actually, the scoreboard said it was second down there. The Eskimo punt unit ran on the field. They had to get back off the field, and now Davis gets a mulligan and sidesteps one tackle, gets out to the 17, but he'll be short. And as the clock winds down in the third quarter, the Bluebirds come out here.
Different play this time. The Edmonton Eskimos tried to go at it again. This time they're going to try and get Davis out here. But remember, I showed you Brian Clark. He blitzed last time. What does Brian Clark do this time? He drops out of there. They play zone defense. So now when that ball's dropped off, look at all the Edmonton tacklers. You got 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now they're all ready to rally, make the tackle short of the first down.
And so the Stampeders down by 1, should get the ball in great field position.
Gets him
again. Fleming not a great kick, but he gets a terrific bounce. And Howell picks it up, draws the no yards, tries to get outside, and does! Into Edmonton territory, knocked out at the Stamp bench around the 50-yard line. Final play of the third quarter, and Henry Burris will have great field position to start the fourth quarter, with a chance for the Stampeders to take the lead.
Have to sort out the penalty before they can wrap up the third quarter.
Go yards. Edmonton number 89. That penalty's declined. First down. End of the quarter.
So they take the Howell return, and that's it. 3 quarters in the books. A 1-point Eskimo lead. Sponsor of the CFL.
Edmonton Eskimos had 9 first downs to 1 in the first quarter. Starting to balance out the Calgary Stampeders. Henry Burris and that O-line starting to move the football a little bit in the second half.
Third quarter seemed to take a long time. I see you want to order in.
Well, what would you like? Would you like the 56-ounce steak like Alexander Gauthiers had? Or I saw you struggling through a 6-ounce filet last night. I don't know if you're going to make it.
My limit is 2 pieces of cheesecake.
That's it. Well, Henry Burris bought them dinner, and he's got them moving. And this is such an important game for the Calgary Stampeders. And the Edmonton Eskimos, and probably more important for Edmonton with the way they have struggled this year. Their defense played so well in the first half, and now they're starting to give up some first downs.
Lions with a bye, so a Stampeder win pulls them into a share of first in the West. Eskimos in desperate need of a win. 2nd and 10. Burris steps up. Burris shakes the first tackle, drops the football. Who's got it? In front of the Eskimo bench. And the Stampeders saved it. And a Braidwood into the mix. Alston there is An altercation breaks out. There was a funny play last week when a ball fell loose right in front of the Eskimo bench. Antico Dalton came up with it, but it seemed to sit in front of Danny Machocha for about 5 seconds. He looked like he wanted to pounce on it, and one of the officials actually held him back because he might have pounced on it.
Yeah, he had happy feet on that one, and let's see, he gets over there on the sideline, and there's the contact. Ball comes out right there.
Dalton with the strip.
Copeland was right on it. And Calgary will save a whole bunch of field position with this punt because of Copeland's hustle.
They did get it back. The gain was 5. 3rd and 5. And Burt Dales, who's kicked the leather off the ball tonight. No, it's going to be the direct snap. Clark to Dales. Dales has the first down. And the Calgary Stampeders, who lead the league in gadget plays, have pulled off another.
You know, I asked him before the game, and he gave me a little smile, Craig Dickinson, and he said, you know, it's been a short week. I don't know if we got a fake in there. They have run the fake and ran it in Montreal to Brian Clark, and Brian Clark took the direct snap. He's what's called the personal protector. Him back in there. Here he is right there, and he has taken this direct snap before and run. This time, what he's going to do is take the snap, go this way, and throw back the opposite direction.
Worked perfectly. Brian Clark, a former quarterback. And now Henry Burris back to work. And Kenyon Rambo, a catch. And a few yards more. As Jonte Buell was unable to bring him down.
You know, and that's probably what the Edmonton Eskimos would be thinking too. You know, it's a short week. Yes, Calgary has run some fakes, but would they have time to put in another fake? And they go at a time, in a crucial point of the football game, they go with the fake. I mean, to have the courage to call that and that opportunity, Tom Higgins likes it. He will put this in every playbook he ever puts together. And hey, Brian Clark has run for first downs. He's now thrown for one.
Well, Dave Dickinson off this week, coming off an injury, but brother Craig taking center stage. Here's that option toss as Rambo's coming around. He's got the corner and out at the 12. And bodies flying everywhere. Check that out at the 17. 2.5 minutes into this fourth quarter.
Well, now the adversity hits for the Edmonton Eskimo defense. Played so well throughout this game. They got the stop they wanted. And now they have to try and hold the Calgary Stampeders to a field goal attempt. Very difficult to do, both physically, because you have to come back on the field, but also mentally. When you thought you're going to the bench and a kick, the fake punt gets you back on the field. Now you got to stop it.
2nd and 3. Stamps threatening back into that. Well, they call it the green zone. Joffrey Reynolds, huge hole. First down, crashing to the 9. Reynolds, who was held in check in the first half, getting some key yards now.
I want to show you how deep Joffrey Reynolds is. The reason he's back, look at how far back he's back. What is that, 7 yards deep from the line of scrimmage. Most running backs will be about 5 yards. He does that for a reason, so that when he gets the football, he's about 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, going downhill, and he has a chance to now pick his hole. Now, the hole happened to be where the play was designed to go on that one. But Reynolds will be one of those backs that'll back up about another yard. There he goes. Couple extra yards. Give himself room.
He had no yards rushing first half, 53 second half. Burris play action. Burris taking a long time to survey. Into the end zone, touchdown. Elijah Thurman. And the Calgary Stampeders have their first lead of the night. Victory lap.
It's hard to keep up with that celebration, but what a catch by Thurman. And Henry Burris will just lay it right outside. Burris will use his legs to bounce outside, buy himself some time, and then he just lays that one out there.
Henry Burris tying Dave Dickinson for the 4th touchdown catch of the year for Elijah Thurman, and on review, what a spectacular catch.
Well, there was some question as to whether or not he even hung on to this football. He has to leave his feet and basically go horizontal to get it, and he freezes it here, hits the ground, and it comes back up. Here's another look. Break all the way. Now Burris he's scrambling to his left, so he goes to the open area. And watch him leave his feet. But I don't think he ever lost control of the ball, and therefore it's a catch for a touchdown. He has it there. He hasn't lost control. The ground may have aided him getting it to his shoulder pads a little bit. He had his right hand underneath it. I think that's a good catch. That's a touchdown catch.
That play, I think, during the break was reviewed by the Eskimos, and they elected not to challenge, and Tony Tompkins will concede a single point. And now 26-19, a 7-point Calgary advantage.
You know, this play does not happen. I want to show you out here. Take a look at the outside for Henry Burris. Burris is going to end up scrambling back this way, and when he does, watch the block by Godfrey Ellis, number 61. Look at 61 up at the top. 61 is holding his man off. Godfrey Ellis is not allowing, he's playing the tight end spot, and he's on the outside, and he allowed Burris to throw that football, or Elijah Thurman never sees it.
So 2 straight scoring drives for Calgary, 2 touchdown passes by Burris, and 11:05 off the clock as the Stampeders take control. And Ricky Ray pulls it down, kicks it outside, and Ricky Ray to the Eskimo bench and out at the 52. Ran for 36 last week in desperation. And a 17-yard romp here.
Difference here for the Calgary Stampeders. 1, 2, 3, 4 across the line. Those are the guys that are rushing. Usually they have a linebacker in there. You see Cornelius Anthony come around the outside, but he goes so wide that he takes himself right out of the play. He's covering Mike Maurer. That opens up the lane for Ricky Ray. Look at Cornelius Anthony takes himself out of the play. And here comes Ricky Ray right through that alley.
First down. Ray rolling. Going open initially. Now Darryl Mitchell. Incomplete. As Mitchell got his feet tangled with the defender and was falling as the ball was delivered.
Ricky Ray starting to move around a little bit. You saw him when he made things happen. The touchdown throw on Labor Day to Trevor Gaylor. He was after a huge scramble. So clearly he's decided on that bench when the Calgary Stampeders took their first lead of this football game that he had to start moving the pocket. He scrambles on the first one. He rolled out, full sprint out off the bootleg on that play.
And Roundtree lost to the Eskimos in the second half. Glenn Carson in at right guard. Dan Kopeski, the best Eskimo offensive lineman, missing his second straight week. And Ray can't find anybody. Takes off again. And Ricky Ray, look at the courage. He's taking some hits, but you know what? He's doing everything he can to get it done.
That's big. That could be like the Henry Burris run on Labor Day. First of all, the O-line up front is holding up pretty well with all the changes. Watch the lanes they got. Troy Davis on the outside. He does a nice job of picking up the blitzer. And now Ricky Ray has an alley, but I love what happens at the end of the play. Brian Clark gets cut in the line. He can't get there. He gets cut twice, as a matter of fact.
And Ray lowers the shoulder on Tony Tiller. 20 on that, so 37 yards on this drive for Ray. And now inside it goes to Ed Hervey, protecting the ball, and another Eskimo first down to the Calgary 24. And the fans back in it at Commonwealth.
Danny Machoa just said, play with pride when you walk across the stripe. And they came out like that in the first quarter and went through a little bit of lull in the third. But the Eskimos, after giving up the lead for the first time, are now starting to play with pride. And it starts when Ricky Ray takes hits in the open field when he's run like he did a play ago.
But again, what Calgary has done better, they've finished drives tonight. The Eskimos have not. Showing blitz, flag down, underneath Mitchell, surrounded, taken to the turf at the 17. He'll have close to 7 yards, pending the penalty.
Boy, all kinds of action going on with that kind of stunt blitz that was coming from the Calgary Stampeders. Offensive line picked it up pretty well. Was there a holding call along that line? Watch the boys up front. There's 5 offensive linemen up there, and they're going to get all kinds of pressure.
Calgary number 37.
They pick it up pretty nice.
5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
And it was Calgary offside.
Mark Kalist in at linebacker, and it gives the Eskimos a 1st and 5.
Boy, I tell you got to give some credit to big Glenn Carson in there, and they've had to make some changes on the Edmonton offensive line. Carson comes in, move things around, and they're picking up that blitz.
Kalist in for Abdullah. 1st and 5, and Randy Chevrier, the former Eskimo, involved in the abrupt stop. Scott Coe there to make sure Davis wasn't going anywhere. No gain.
Edmonton Eskimos wanted a face mask call, and it looked like Troy Davis's head kind of got whipped around on that play, but I'm not sure if there was a face mask on it. No penalty flag on the field. But the Eskimo bench erupted as he hit the line. Here he comes up in the line just to the left of your screen. There now, well, that's across the top of the helmet, right across the top of that face mask.
Troy Davis with just 3 yards rushing here in the second half. 2nd down, blitz was on underneath Woodcock. Incomplete. Jarred loose by Cedric Williams, who celebrates the stop, but again, an Eskimo drive comes up short.
Yeah, give credit to the Calgary Stampeder defense, because Ricky Ray has moved the football tonight, but has not been able to punch it in for majors. And when you're on the road, if you're giving up field goals on the road, that's a plus for a defense.
Fleming's hit on 4 tonight. Now surveying a 27-yarder. And Fleming puts that through. So the Calgary lead is 4 with 7:03 to go. Calgary had 5 sacks Monday, none so far tonight.
Let's go, Malcolm!
Charbonneau watching right now as Calgary goes to work on offense. A 3-man front for the Eskimos, and Malcolm Frank steps up, and he was in the hip pocket of the Calgary receiver and drops him for a loss as we eavesdrop on AJ Gass and the sounds of the game.
Here we go!
Yeah! Yeah!
Yes, that is the middle linebacker mentality, isn't it?
That is. That's good as it gets.
2nd and 12.
Here they come.
Maybe offside. And a pass incomplete, ruling incomplete, and Mobley in a battle there with Kenyon Rambo, who I thought came up with the catch initially, and Mobley and Rambo continued to jaw. Looked like Charles Alston, the right end for the Eskimos, jumped the gun.
Well, you can see the linebackers going. AJ Gass, who we just listened in on, he was going on the blitz as well. It was a matter of whether or not Henry Burris could get the ball out of there in time. He did. A low throw because of the blitz.
Offside, Edmonton. That penalty's declined. Illegal contact, Edmonton number 29. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll repeat, 2nd down.
Take the one that's going to give you the most yards, and that was Gerald Dixon. And illegal contact. There's Gerald Dixon right there in the middle of your screen. And oh yeah, I mean that's
yep. That makes it 2nd and 2. And the option toss, AJ Gass buries Marcus Howell.
You talked about middle linebacker play. That's the middle linebacker mentality. That's how you play middle linebacker right there.
That was shades of his coach, Dan Kepley.
Watch him, Phil. Reads the play, steps up through the line, and helmet to ear hole.
Burke Dales with the punt, but Dales took a hit, and that draws a penalty. And the Calgary Stampeders are going to keep the football.
Yeah, it's going to be roughing the kicker. It's going to be roughing the kicker, and Burke Dales gets nailed in the leg.
And Danny Machocha, who has pleaded with his team to play smart, is going to have his team take a costly penalty.
Major foul, roughing the kicker, Edmonton number 76.
That's Randy
15-yard
Spencer.
penalty, first down.
And this is just a bad decision in a crucial point in the game for Randy Spencer.
We will take a look at it when we come back. A timeout on the field. Just under 5.5 minutes remaining at Commonwealth. Burke Dales extended the drive on a third down gamble with a catch. Now the drive extended as he was roughed up. Looks like he'll be okay. Actually broke more than a smile at the Calgary bench after the hit by Randy Spencer. Burris had Copeland open, took a heavy hit and couldn't connect with Jermaine Copeland.
Let's take a look at the roughing the kicker. What bad call, or bad decision, I should say by Randy Spencer. And now, in fairness to Spencer, he does get clipped a little bit by Wes Lysak and goes down, but what he's doing even anywhere near the kicker is beyond Danny Machocha, I am sure. And while Burke Dales looked like he was in a lot of pain, he got to the bench and was laughing, so he was fine.
Big play now, 2nd and 10. Well, the fans here at Commonwealth on their feet, urging the defense to come up big. Burris looking big, and Copeland got his feet tangled with the veteran Shannon Garrett, and it falls incomplete.
Well, the defense reaches down twice in a row for the Edmonton Eskimos. Now they get the big play out of A.J. Gass and are forced to come back onto the field, and this was a designed play to throw it outside. Even though Copeland isn't looking to the outside, the throws goes outside, and he just breaks off it when the ball's in the air and he slips and falls. $47,965 on hand, and look at this. Sandro DeAngelis coming out. He's going to try a 60-yarder. Looks like the wind is against him, if there is any.
Well, Sandro was short the first half.
Boy, this is big-time returnable for Tony Tompkins.
Unless they've got something
They might
going.
try and angle it. They're going to angle it and try and kick it out coffin corner.
Okay. And that's exactly what they're going to do instead. Tompkins got a play, and he'll get a return. So Tompkins out across the 30-yard line. That strategy does not work. And the Eskimos will have better field position than they could have hoped. So the Eskimos scrimmage at the 31. Here's Troy Davis. And again, not much available in the second half. Chevrier, Anthony converging again. But you know, if you're going to try that, you got to make sure you get out of bounds, don't you?
Absolutely. You got to, and it's the element of surprise really wasn't there because it was too far, especially on natural grass.
It is fair to say, though, maybe that was the only option if Burke Dales just isn't ready to come back into the game.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, that's right. Maybe he is more hurt. He was over there laughing on the sideline and walking around, but maybe he is more hurt than he looked like he was.
2nd and 8. Ray cutting downfield looking for Hervey, who can't run under it. And maybe Hervey trying to draw a flag as he tumbles to the turf.
No way. You know, and I know there's upwards of 50,000 here in Commonwealth right now that want a pass interference call, but that ball was not catchable. This is a good no call by the officials. A little contact was made as that ball was coming down. Looks like the legs got crossed up a little bit. Williams and Ed Hervey up at the top of your screen.
Now there is a flag on the field, and maybe Hervey had something to say on the way back to the bench.
Well, but this ball was not catchable for Ed Hervey. That ball was about 5 yards too far. I know he's
Objectionable
fast.
conduct. Edmonton number 81.
Yep.
10-yard penalty, still third down.
And you know, he tried to sell it. Maybe he thought it should have been, but you can't take that kind of penalty now. 20th penalty for the Eskimos in the game.
Now this football team this year is finding ways. And he actually didn't take a swing. He just pointed at him right in his face, and that's going to get called every time. And that's, again, I know there's frustration. Not a good decision by a veteran football player.
His buddy Sean Fleming with a good punt, though. And roughing across the 45. Good field position for Calgary with a 4-point lead. Less than 3 minutes to play. 2 minutes, 52 seconds remaining. Henry Burris and the Stampeders that close to their 5th straight win. Stamps haven't won 5 in a row since 1996. Haven't won both the Labor Day game and the rematch since 98. And that play snuffed out for a loss as Reynolds is buried. So we're into the critical point of the game. Charles Austin's fired up, but you've made a good point here. This looks like the entire Eskimo season being replayed tonight.
Boy, it's starting to feel a lot like it. Their defense has played so well tonight, and yet 1 or 2 bad decisions, 1 or 2 bad plays could cost them the game. Lots of time left, and there's lots of time for Ricky Ray to get that football back. But they need to stop here on 2nd down, and then they have to try and get rid of the thought from the Randy Spencer bad decision and hit Hervey that penalty.
Loss of 3, 2nd and 13, and a time count violation. The play doesn't get off in time.
But you look back at this Edmonton season. I mean, they play the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, basically have them beat until the last play of the game. Milt Stegall goes the distance. They're playing the BC Lions with the lead, have a chance to win on the last play of the game.
Calgary number 1. Penalties, loss of down.
Loss of down in the final 3 minutes.
And their defense comes up big. They go into BC. They have that game won, Edmonton. And they botch a field goal snap. Few bad penalties, few bad decisions tonight. Now, can Ricky Ray salvage this one out of the fire? He's got lots of time.
So Burton Dales is into the game now to punt. We'll see if there's any after effects of the Spencer hit. I know he was laughing on the sidelines, but he took a pretty good shot on the leg, too. And we'll see if he can continue his streak of just terrific punting in this game. Second only to Noel Prefontaine in punting this season. And Tony Tompkins awaits, trying to give Ricky Ray some field position. And we're told that the blackout has been lifted here in Edmonton, so welcome aboard if you happen to be with us in the Alberta capital tonight.
Singor Mobley just walked halfway on the field to tell the punt return team, do not take a penalty in this situation. No matter where Tony Tompkins gets this football, that's better field position than if you take a penalty on it.
Not as good a kick by Dales. But a big bounce, and now Tompkins losing yards and back at the 12. Tony Tompkins going the wrong way.
Yeah, but
and it's a long field now for Ricky Ray. And less than 2 minutes to go, and then we will have Sports Center. Darren Petition, Jennifer Hedger, bring you up to date. More on the Labor Day rematch here, the Canadian Open, and all the baseball action on the night coming up following the game.
Almost all the Edmonton blockers there on that punt return were letting up on their man. They did not want to take a penalty there. And consequently, Tony Tompkins gets caught for the loss. Now Ricky Ray has a long field in front of him.
Danny Machocha said his play on Labor Day Monday was heroic. This would be an heroic drive. And Ray steps up. Troy Davis in front. And Ricky Ray gets outside. All the way to the 39-yard line. And Ray on using his legs in the second half.
You know what I love about what Ricky Ray is doing in this game? First of all, Ricky Ray is not known as a runner, and he's trying to take this game on his shoulders and make it happen himself. Here he is right here. The lane opens up, and it has to the left side of that formation a few times tonight. And when he takes off and runs, I love what he's doing at the end of these plays. He is not running out of bounds. He is not hook sliding. He is trying to win the football game.
And Ricky Ray now has 75 yards on the ground. And Cedric Williams, the quarterback, shaken up on the play.
You know, and this is a timing-wise for Williams. The training staff has to come out. One, Williams has to go now for 3 plays to the sideline. Number 2, Ricky Ray gets to get his breath back. He gets to take a few seconds, get a drink of water. Now, Danny Machocha and the quarterbacks down there have the opportunity to maybe call 2 or 3 plays in a row, or at least get in their mind what they're going to do on this drive for more than just the next play. So the timing of this injury for Williams helps the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, so the corner is gone, and you wonder whether a guy who's been completely shut out tonight can take advantage of this situation. Pascal Masson comes in and goes on the corner. 1st and 10. And they'll swing it out to Davis. And Davis lowers the boom and has 7 to 8.
You know, this is a play that Ricky Ray can still call. With 1:36 left, he doesn't have to force the ball down the field. You mentioned Jason Tucker, and Tucker's that guy who's running those intermediate to long routes all the time. They can go down the field by dumping it off to Daryl Mitchell, dumping it off to Troy Davis. They still have time.
Second and a couple, and Davis straight ahead. And
did he get it? I don't know. I don't think so.
Just back to the line of scrimmage. And now Danny Machocha has to look at 3rd down. Well, the spot was a little better than first looked. It still looks like they're a yard short. And this will require a measurement. As Raheem Abdullah, the former Eskimo, comes up with a key tackle. It's that far short. And not much doubt now. 88 seconds. Danny Machocha has no choice, but now it's play selection.
Yeah, they got to go now. And now you still at minute 28. There is time to run your offense. And it just so happens the offense for Edmonton of late has been the quick passing game anyway.
Trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak and losing 6 of their last 7. The Eskimos looking at 3rd and just under a yard. An early motion, and it looked like, well, Calgary's trying to sell that somebody on that offensive line moved. Let's find out how Glenn Johnson's crew sorts it out.
Well, Brian Clark stepped across the line of scrimmage, but was he drawn across?
And lobbying heavy on both sides.
Calgary number 48, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Brian Clark, he was saying that he saw something. There's Clark right there. Watch him step across the line of scrimmage. I didn't see any movement before the line, so that's just straight offside Calgary. First down. Right about now when Brian Clark makes a big play, though.
At the 53, Ray back to pass. Underneath again, a completion.
See what they did, though? They got
Clark there.
Cornelius Anthony came out of the backfield to cover Troy Davis coming out of the backfield. That opens up the middle for Daryl Mitchell. Now they got to call the plays on the line, see how many they can get in.
Well, Daryl Mitchell, Troy Davis have been the favored receivers. We haven't heard much from Gaylor. Have not had a catch from Jason Tucker in this game. 2nd and 4. Rush on. Ray has the completion. And there is Trevor Gaylor. Into Calgary territory at the 34.
Didn't get out of bounds, so when they put it down and blow it in, the clock will start. It's 1:06 right now. The crossing route right over the middle here by Trevor Gaylor. Some time for Ricky Ray to set up and throw, and he hits Gaylor on the money across the field. They
marked it at the 35. The The clock running down to 1 minute to go. First down. Here comes the pressure. Underneath it goes Mitchell. Tackled immediately by Demetrius Maxey with an athletic play by the defensive end.
Boy, was it ever for him to drop back and become a linebacker on that play. And to be able to make an open field tackle like that, it's incredible. Maxey's going to drop out of there. Demetrius Maxey, he's on the line. Now he drops out of there. Here comes the crosser. Now it's one-on-one. Daryl Mitchell. I guarantee the Edmonton Eskimos would like to take that matchup every time, and Maxey gets him on the ground.
Ray calling the audible at the line. 2nd and 8. Rolling to the right side. And now stepping up. Reversing field. And he'll be dropped at the 29-yard line. It'll be 4 yards short. It sets up 3rd and 4.
It's been a battle down there in that offensive line. And Ricky Ray has nothing to the play side. They're going to bring in Daryl Mitchell to help block, and he doesn't get a piece of the outside rush. Lane opens up, but Cornelius Anthony tracks him down before Ricky Ray gets to that first down marker.
Raheem Abdullah has taken a knee, and he'll get attention. And that gives the Eskimos more time to ponder 3rd and 4 with 34 seconds to go. Down by 4.
Well, and just prior to that, Danny Machocha had told Ricky Ray the play that he wants. And so Ricky Ray's all the way back in that huddle, even though he has more time to talk to Danny Machocha. You know, the one thing that could happen here is Machocha, I'm not sure if they discussed it on the sideline, but you have to assume if you're Danny Machocha, you're going to get first down. So what's the next play? What's the next play on first down? You know, right now, if you're looking at who do we throw the football to if you're Danny Machocha, Jason Tucker's been basically taken out of this football game, and that's been the play of Jermaine Chapman. Tucker all season would be the guy. You know, he's gone to Mitchell a bunch.
So Abdullah has to go to the sidelines. Terrence Patrick in for him. And here we go. 3rd and 4. Perhaps the Eskimos season on the line. And Ray underneath Jason Tucker. First down, first catch at the 20.
I'll tell you what, you don't go to them all game, but when you absolutely have to have a catch, Tucker is the guy. Here he is right here, the inside of your screen. Nothing fancy for Tucker. And this play, I guarantee you, was, hey, 83, you just go find a hole, and I'll hit you with the football.
Clock running. 20 seconds to go. First down. There's open Pat Woodcock. Flag down. Woodcock at the 5. Let's see if it stands.
Flag came late. The flag came late. That would indicate it wasn't holding against the Edmonton Eskimos.
Woodcock's first catch of the game after Tucker's first. And it looks like it's going to stand.
Major foul. Roughing the passer. Calgary number 33. Half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Trey Young.
Full blitz from the Calgary Stampeders. They're sending the entire house. Here they come. And Trey Young with his hands up high in the face of Ricky Ray. I don't know about roughing the passer. It wasn't that rough, but it was high.
First and goal from the 3 with 15 seconds left. Davis the lone setback. Davis the ball carrier. Troy Davis. Stuffed and dropped at the 4. Actually a loss of 1. 9 seconds to go.
Now Ricky Ray is trying to call timeout. Now the tendency to want to run the football down there, I understand. The problem with it is it takes time off the clock if you don't get there.
Well, they should have time for 2 plays. And they need 4 to end the losing streak. A lot of people have said this is do or die, and I don't believe that. There's still
there's
a lot
lots
of football to be played. And with all due respect to the Hamilton Ticats, Edmonton has a struggling team back-to-back next. But they desperately need this to really fuel the chance to extend that 34-year playoff streak.
And you have to throw the football here. Can't mess around anymore. It takes too much time off the clock.
The Stampeder defense digs in and make it a 5-game win streak and a share of first in the West. Here we go. Ricky Ray, end zone touchdown. Jason Tucker.
They get the rub. They get the rub to the short side of the field. Danny Machocha wants one.
Heartbreak when Milt Stegall scored. Heartbreak when they botched the field goal in BC. Something's finally gone right late for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, he wasn't part of the offense the entire game, and when they needed him the most, Jason Tucker steps up. A big catch on third down to move the chains and keep the hope alive for Edmonton, and then the touchdown.
Field goal, or they convert, good by Fleming to make it a 3-point lead. 12 plays, 96 yards, and 2 critical catches by Jason Tucker.
Ricky Ray had no doubt where he was throwing the football. I want to show you this quarterback. Watch how he looks in this direction from the get-go. There he goes. I'm look, Tucker. There he is. And Tucker gets an assist on the rub. Crossing patterns. Here they come over to the other side. Here goes the out, and he gets Ed Hervey just to hold up and get the rub.
Six seconds remaining. And the guy who wears all his emotions on his sleeve tries to hold in the delight there.
Well, it started tonight with the Edmonton Eskimo defense, led by A.J. Gass. They started playing with pride. The offense went through a lull.
The offense doesn't score a touchdown until 59 minutes and 54 seconds into the game.
It's a good one.
And you'd never know it was a barn burner by that guy's reaction. Well, all the Eskimos have to do now is cover the kickoff. But we found out nothing's automatic.
Well, Danny Machocha has the headset off. And likely Sean Fleming may squib kick this, so it's not a clean catch in return from Calgary. Try to throw off the timing. He does that.
The squib kick up for grabs, and Scott Coe will toss it out of bounds. So there's 2 seconds left, and the offense has 1 play. And it's time now for the Friday Night Gladiator, brought to you by Castrol. More than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
Honorable mention to Ricky Ray and the way he has run the football tonight. But one man stepped up, took Joffrey Reynolds out of the game, played with unbelievable intensity and passion, set the tone, and happened to be, and this is by coincidence, happened to be our Mike player tonight. A.J. Gass is our gladiator. He set the tone for Edmonton.
All right, we've seen it before. So this defensive set looking much different than the one that faced Winnipeg on the last gas.
Oh, are they ever?
50, 60 yards deep. Will Henry Burris get a chance to throw it? No! That ball's still loose, and the Eskimos will score 1 more. Adam Braidwood will finish it off for the Eskimos. And a couple of streaks have ended tonight. A 2-game losing streak and a 4-game win streak.
You know, full credit, Chris, to this defensive football team for the Edmonton Eskimos. When Randy Spencer got the roughing the kicker and Ed Hervey got a penalty that put them in a hole, as this game was winding down, that defense could have given up at that point, and they didn't. They kept coming. Adam Braidwood, who created a fumble for a touchdown earlier to Charles Alston, picks up the touchdown there. But this is a defense that won this football game for the Edmonton Eskimos.
That dad came to support his son, and his son's woes end tonight, and there's still hope for the defending Grey Cup champions. as they win their 4th. And now we'll try and take care of business in back-to-back games against Hamilton. The Stampeders filing off, and this game not done until the convert to put the finishing touches on what will be a 36-26 win in all likelihood. I'm not sure if the Stampeders have a quorum to finish the game.
The Edmonton Eskimos, as you mentioned, Chris, go against Hamilton back-to-back. And then they take on Saskatchewan, Toronto again, and Montreal and Saskatchewan. So they are definitely not out of it, but desperately needed this win.
A dark cloud lifted on that final drive by Ricky Ray. And they are not going to try and add to the lead. Not going to take any chances. It's going to be a 35-26 win in dramatic fashion for the Edmonton Eskimos. And we had plenty of fireworks going off in the final minute.
Congratulations to Danny Machucha. All kinds of pressure. He asked his football team tonight to play with some pride. And they did that, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
So the Eskimos get a much-needed win, 4-7. Adam Braidwood, the finishing touches as Edmonton prevails.